accident, one thing leads to another. Your injury leads to treatment. Treatment leads to hospital bills. Bills lead to debt. Debt leads to stress. The advocates can help relieve that stress. Having an advocate attorney on your side leads to faster resolutions, fair outcomes, and a peaceful recovery for you. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show, live on Thursday, August 21st, 2025. You guys ready to put your kids back in school? Yeah, I bet you are. A lot of kids walking to school, a lot of kids riding their bikes to school. Be careful. Be on the lookout. This is one of the most dangerous times of the year for our young people. If the worst happens, be ready. Get to theadvocates.com 24/7, 365. And the best part is, it doesn't cost you a dime out of your pocket. You never pay the advocates to get clear, risk-free advice. And they always have an attorney on call. So if it's 2 a.m, you get in an accident, advocates.com. Chat with an injury attorney live online. Where you need it, when you need it, how you need it. That's the advocates at theadvocates.com. A lot to get to today. The Chicago Cubs season is about to come to an end. As Craig Counsell is stupid and the worst manager in the history of Major League Baseball. He put Kyle Tucker back in the lineup today, and I know you guys are here to talk SEC football, Monty. I totally get that. I understand it, and we'll get to it in a second. But you cannot tell me that this isn't, Jake, one of the stupidest decisions, because you look at Kyle Tucker today, he can't hit, he can't field a ball in right field, and he is directly the reason that we're going to the bottom of the ninth and the Cubs are down 4-1.
Yeah, let's just keep putting him back in the lineup. Keep throwing the guy back in the lineup. I don't understand it. I don't think this is hard to understand. I don't think this is a difficult decision to make. The guy needs to sit down, and he needs to sit down for a good long while. And I don't care how much money you're paying the guy or not paying the guy or whatever. You need to put the best team on the field. That's your job as the manager of any baseball team.
Yeah.
And Kyle Tucker would not be included in that conversation right now.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I'm stunned. I don't understand it. And he is just, I understand the guy is scuffling. I don't want to hear, I don't know how many of you follow the beloved, the Chicago Cubs. Kyle Tucker allegedly has a fractured hand or a fracture on his hand. They're trying not to be specific.
Mm-hmm.
If he's not healthy and he can't go, don't put him in the lineup. You batted him second today. He's 0 for 3 with a walk. He's all the way down to 259. It's remarkable to me how bad it is. And you're in a situation with the Cubs where you could have taken 4 out of 5 from the Milwaukee Brewers and just been 5 games back. And instead, you're going to be 6 games back. And yeah, it's 3 out of 5 that you're going to win. That's a hell of a lot different than 4 out of 5 and 5 games back. And you took out Owen Casey to put in Kyle Tucker. You are playing. Listen, I understand Willie Castro's a nice pickup, but Shaw is a far better defensive third baseman, and the guy has been raking. You took him out. And I just don't understand it. And then to sub him in late in the game. Yeah, it is so annoying to me that as a Cubs fan, I'm going through it. And I understand we're struggling. This is self-inflicted. This was a bad lineup today. The international sex symbol, Greg Hawkins, and I have been going through this Cubs struggle on a regular basis. You know, Greg is a regular viewer of the show. We message back and forth. And he called it before the game even started. He nailed it. He said, I hate this lineup. We're going to lose. And boom, you hate this lineup and the Cubs are losing. And it's just so frustrating. It is so frustrating. The King of Thailand, when Monty on left screen, I have to retrain my eyes to look left instead of right. Just saying.
Here we go.
Okay. He also says Yankees are like a squirrel that found a nut, and dude, do they nut a lot. 14 home runs in 2 games. Yes, your Tigers got back and got healthy for certain. All right, let's get to the headlines you're all here to hear about today. We have an exclusive for you right here on the show, and it's a story we've been working on for about 4 months. We told you early on that the SEC and the Big Ten were working on a new entity and launching that new entity. Call it a super league, call it a new football thing, call it screw the NCAA. Hey, call it whatever you want. They were working on it, and then it seemed like an impasse happened. And as I told you, this all came down to 5-11 and the SEC playing 9 games. And as soon as the SEC in meetings across the table said, sure, we'll play 9 games, all of a sudden the Big Ten got real hesitant and started talking about these huge numbers and 28, 34 teams in a playoff. Everybody's mom makes the playoff. And all of a sudden things just ground to a complete stop because the Big Ten got hesitant. And anytime you're in high-level meetings, and hell, even on our level, Jake and I can tell you this, when you hesitate in the middle of a big-time discussion about a business deal, that business deal is probably not going to happen. And you look at the way that the Big Ten hesitated, they blinked. There's no other way to put it. When you're sitting across the table from Greg Sankey and his cohorts at the SEC, they're not hesitant. They're not scared because they hold the hammer. The Big Ten, I think, got that clarity we've all been talking about. A 5-11 playoff format, absolutely, without question, damages the other 3 Power Fours and only uplifts the SEC, period. So now you have to get into this situation where compromise starts happening. So what did I tell you last week? Well, they've been talking and they've been exchanging proposals, and the Big Ten has moved a little bit more to the middle of, all right, let's talk about a playoff structure or an entity structure as long as you're willing to play 9 games. And that seemed to reignite the fire, according to sources close to the situation, who told me late last night and this morning that the SEC and the Big Ten really got back to conversations in earnest, which means serious conversations. Once the Big Ten came back to the table and said, okay, if you play 9 games, we will agree to add strength of schedule as the real deciding factor in who's in and who's out of the college football playoff. That's when I am told everything started moving. As we found out yesterday, we talked about it at length. What's the new parameters for getting into the new criteria?
The criteria.
Getting into the college football playoff, it is strength of schedule and strength of opponent. What do we hear today now? I am told exclusively that it is a fait accompli. It is done. The SEC for 2026 will move to 9 conference games. And as part of those discussions, I am told that the framework is in place for the SEC and the Big Ten to form this new entity. The ACC and the Big 12 will be part of that. And what this new entity looks like, I am told it'll be all power conference teams, 67, all of the power conference teams, and about 20 of them will make the college football postseason, which feels on par. Now, why do we know that this is a tried and true formula? Because how many teams are in the National Football League? 32. How many of those teams make the playoffs? 14. And if you do some math on those numbers and you start looking at why that number matters, it's because if you divide 14 by 32, you are getting about 40%. And I think what we are very clear here is you cannot have a system where everybody gets into the college football playoff. And Jake, I think you absolutely have to find a way to limit exposure and limit how many college football teams can play for a championship. And if you go with about 40%, what's 40% of 67? Does anybody want to guess? 67 times 40% is 27 teams.
Yeah.
So I think you're looking at a scenario where between 20 and 28 teams will get into the college football postseason. And that's going to be your system. And it is absolutely going to be wins and losses, because remember, in a new entity or a super league, no matter how you want to slice it, in a new entity or a super league, the NCAA and conference affiliation no longer matters. You are all under the same umbrella. You are going to be in divisions, and you are going to be in two, call it a conference, if you will, the NFC and the AFC. You're going to be in those kind of conferences with different divisions. And I think you're going to have a very similar system to the NFL. And Jake, it's what we've heard about now for more than a year on this show.
Right. And I think, what's really interesting is how people are, sort of interpreting this. Like I hear you say things like, hey, this trade-off has happened that we've been talking about for some time now, where the Big Ten, wants the SEC to play 9 conference games, and the SEC wants, the Big Ten to play more power opponents. And what's really interesting to me about this is I don't really feel like the Big Ten has done anything here. Honestly, like, this is getting pitched as like, oh, the SEC is sacrificing by playing 9 conference games. But I don't really see it that way. Like, the SEC is already playing, not in official capacity 9 conference games, but you're already playing a ton of power opponents. And for me, the Big Ten can sit here at their media days and play this little game where they want to mock the SEC and all that good stuff. And Big Ten fan can say, "Oh, well, we won the last couple of national championships." But the reality is, when that schedule gets a lot more difficult in the Big Ten, you're not going to be doing what you're doing now. There's only going to be Ohio State, and every other year maybe you might get another player that goes a little further, but not much is going to change, in my opinion, as far as the Big Ten is concerned, when you start making the schedule more difficult. And for me, I look at the SEC and I say it's the same cast of characters, except they're like 4 or 5 deep. So like, are we really pressing the SEC? Is the SEC really making that much of a sacrifice to keep the ball rolling, if you will, towards getting this new entity done? Because I don't really feel like they are at all.
Well, and I can tell you, I'm texting with a very high-level television source right now who's telling me that this is the only way that this can come together. And I agree with that. I think that is, from somebody that sits in boardrooms and has these conversations on a regular basis, I can tell you I believe that that's exactly right. This is the only way that can happen, because you can't have all of these chefs in the kitchen. And I think when you look at the way the power structure of college football has gone, the moment that Notre Dame signed their rights away, or their ability to contest anything happening for an automatic bid into the college football postseason, this was over. And that gave a lot more power to Greg Sankey just by default, because Greg Sankey has all of the relationships in place. Tony Petitti is a brand new operator in the Big Ten who really has struggled under the weight of things like the Michigan cheating scandal. Mm-hmm. He has not been able to get forward. And I think one of the things that has really hurt Tony Petitti here is, because if we're truth telling, Tony Petitti, he blinked. Tony Petitti balked here. He had an opportunity, and he did. He stood up to what he felt like was an overwhelming advantage, if you will, to the SEC. And I think they tried. We had heard reports that I was not able to independently verify, by the way, but we had heard reports earlier this week that the Big Ten was floating 28 teams in a college football playoff. Mm-hmm. Nobody I speak to has been able to confirm that or had heard that. And I think when you look at the conversations that are going on, and you start looking at the fact that you're going to have 60-something teams in a new entity, and about 40% of those teams are going to get into the college football postseason, you're looking at a system that is very cut and dry. And again, as it was explained to me today by multiple sources, this is the only way to guarantee postseason revenue for both the schools, the entity, and the television networks, the sponsors. Like, you have to have a bar that does not include, Jabba Manuel up in Michigan, essentially rigging the college football playoff last year, in my opinion, to try and damage Ohio State. It has got to come down to a point where it is as simple as, did you win enough games? You're in. Did you lose too many games? You're out. It is as simple as that. And I think the elephant here in the room is, what do you do with the G5? And one of the things that I've really been unable to get a firm grasp on is, does this new entity have a solution and a path forward for the G5 to remain one of the championship, I'm not going to say participants, I guess, because I feel like that's disrespectful, but is there a route, is there a path for a G5 team or two to compete for a championship at the highest level of college football? And I think the answer is there might well not be.
I mean, I just don't know how there is in this proposed, short-term solution, right? I mean, when you think about, hey, the Big Ten's got to play more difficult opponents, the SEC's got to play 9 conference games, they're not even considering the impact to the G5, in my opinion. I mean, I'm sure it's on their list of things to talk about, but you can't sit here and tell me that this is like somehow a high priority, let's say, or anything like that. And we've been talking about this for, I mean, gosh, it's got to be, I mean, most of this year, every time we talk about this, we always come to this sort of hurdle, and I always come back to the same thing. And I know you guys are going to find this hard to believe, but I also think about college football when we're not doing the show. And
what?
I know it's a shocking development on the Monty program.
Is it a Diddy party?
It very well might be. There's a lot of pigskin going on through my head, but I have put a lot of thought into like what's a unique sort of out of the box solution to keep the G6 involved, and I haven't been able to come up with one other than they need their own system. And I think it's really hard to say to the power conferences, hey, include the little guy, when the little guy is not really all that impactful in the greater conversation. And I understand that obviously they play a role in the system of college football in the bigger picture, but I think that role is getting more limited by the day. And so my thing has always been, hey, they got to have their own playoff system. And I think the champion, or if you want to have, just to kind of round out the college football playoff in the future, if you need to have like 3 from the G6, let's say, to make the numbers even, then cool. But for me, I would just want to see the champion of the G6 be included in the new entity or whatever we're calling it.
Yeah, the only explanation, the only solution that I heard today that makes any kind of sense to me is that the G5 will have to, almost by mandate, create their own championship.
Yeah.
And the participants in that championship game have a route into the top tier of college football postseason. But there's going to be so many presidents and athletic directors at the power schools that'll be against that. Because if you're putting 2 G5 in, you're keeping 2 power schools out. And I don't know, is there upside? Because I don't think you can just write off the G5. You're not just going to summarily tell somebody like a Boise State, an Oregon State, a Memphis, pound sand. That to me doesn't make sense. And I think Greg Sankey's words have rang true in my ears in that he doesn't want to shrink college football. I think starting this new entity does everything but shrink college football. I think it grows it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you eliminate the G5, and again, I'm not saying that you can please all the people all the time, and nor should you try to do that. I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form. But what I am saying is that I don't necessarily believe, that the G5 want to compete. 99.9% of the G5 don't want to compete with a power conference.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they want anything to do with the money and the revenue that is required to compete at the highest level of college football. They just simply can't. But if you tell the top 10%, hey, if you win your conference and you get into the championship of the G5, you're going to have an opportunity to go play for a championship at the highest level. I'm not I don't know who's saying no to that. So I could tell you right now, Boise's not. I can tell you right now, again, Oregon State's not. I can tell you for certain Memphis is not. And I have a guess that there's probably 20 other, maximum 20 other athletic directors. UNLV, San Diego State, I would think. Stupid Wicker would want to compete for that. I would assume. But you can't tell me that every G5 university wants to compete for that.
No,
Because I just don't think that's the case.
I think it's the house settlement conversation too. Like, I think we saw that dynamic well at play with rev sharing with athletes, and it's no secret that most of the G5, I don't have any problem saying probably half of the G5 on the being conservative wants nothing to do with paying the costs required to compete with the power conferences.
Correct.
And I would agree that, if we're using words like who's enthusiastic about it, you're probably talking about 10 to 15% of the G5 would be enthusiastic, excited, want to do it, would be pissed off if they weren't included. Like that kind of person, I think is, probably like 10 to 15%. But I think just the same way you're saying, and I agree with it, just the same way you're saying, hey, like, you can't just exile the G5. You can't just forget about them or just delete them from the college football conversation nationally. I also don't think that you can, obviously you can't just kind of like throw them in. You can't just be like, okay, yeah, like we created this new entity and one of you guys gets in. Like there has to be and again, I do think this is the G5's responsibility. It's not the power conference's responsibility to come up with a system that works. It's the G5's responsibility, in my opinion, to come up with a system that they all agree upon, that they can then pitch to the power conferences to make this work. Because the reality is the power conferences aren't the one losing money here, right? They're not the one that's going to lose money but when, you go to the new entity and you do all this. The G5 is the one losing the money. So that's why I say I would hope they're working on it.
I think one of the hardest parts of this whole thing, if we're truth telling, is the belief that you have to include the G5. I don't think you have to do that. I think if the G5 wants to compete at the upper echelons of college football, they've got to build programs that can do that. And that's why I bring up Boise can do that. Oregon State can do that. I think Memphis can do that. And I believe that UNLV can do that. I can't give you for sure every other program that can do that because Washington State cannot do that. Fresno State cannot do that. And really, I mean, who are we kidding? We're talking about the Mountain West and the Pac-12 and the whatever the new members of the Pac-12 are. But you can't tell me Colorado State's got overwhelming funds. I don't even believe that somebody like a San Diego State has the no doubt about it money to do that. I think that's a big question when you are a university that is not making top tier money. To spend top tier money to try and make top tier money is an awfully terrifying thing.
It's huge, it's huge risk.
It's huge. There's no question about that. And I don't know how you justify that in the face of the educational funding challenges we are now seeing in this country going forward. I just don't know how you justify that. And I don't think that 9 out of 10 G5 universities should try to justify that. The problem is you have a lot of big talkers in the G5 and very, very few actors who live up to the things they say. And I think that's a huge problem because at the end of the day, these are all businessmen in the business of educating young people. And I think we forget that. And I know that pisses people off and we want to totally get it. But at the end of the day, what's more important at San Diego State? San Diego State football or the academia and academics at San Diego State, at Boise State, at Fresno, any of the Cal State schools? What's more important? I'm going to tell you it's education. You want farm subsidies at Utah State? That's way more important than football. I can just tell you that right now. And I understand that doesn't mean you don't want to compete. But at what point does fiscal responsibility win out? That's the single hardest question that you have to answer at the G5, because this is not a conversation that is even relevant to the power conference schools. You look at the top educational institutions in the power conferences, Northwestern just paid out how much to Pat Fitzgerald today and ain't even going to think twice about it.
Nope.
Right? You look at the money that is being paid. And I just think that you have to find a way to get this done. I think it's got to be done for 2020, the 2028 football season. And that is not a lot of time.
No.
Because between the lawyers and the you're going to need congressional backing on this. I mean, that's an election year. So I would assume Donald Trump, if he wants to push that through, that could be part of his legacy. You know, I just think it's one of those things where we have to figure out how to fix it. And I don't know how to fix that. Dan Welsh says, hey guys, great reporting. I just want to know, how the hell did Michigan get off cheating scandal, and how much did they pay the NCAA to get off? They haven't yet.
Yeah, they haven't yet. I think that's still being bandied about.
And I think this appeal that they're doing in their tough talk is really foolish, because it's going to cost them tens of millions of dollars. You got off light by a lot of accounts. Pay the $30 million and move on about your business.
Yep.
That's what they should do. Greg Hawkins, there he is, as though I summoned him from the dead. Greg, I was just talking about you. Everybody, welcome Greg Hawkins, the international sex symbol. Greg Hawkins, the long-suffering cohort and Cub fandom. You know, Greg, maybe you should go back to Chicago with me. Well, never mind, because they're not going to make the postseason. I was going to say maybe, you know, because now Jake is unable, and, you know, my asshole brother's a White Sox fan, and he probably is still mad at me over the Trump argument. Like, you know, your boy's a season ticket holder. You know, I'll just go back by myself. Glizzies for everybody but me. Craig Counsell thinking sitting Casey and Shaw and playing Tucker's, and it's not technically an error, but he botched a ball in right field. Like,
yeah, my biggest problem with this lineup today is I feel like it's Craig. I feel like it's Craig saying, "Hey, you're Kyle Tucker. I'm gonna not do what I should do because you're a name, and people are wondering how long I'm gonna sit you." And one of the things that I think was never talked about when they brought Craig on to be the manager of this ball club was the lack of experience coaching in a major market, with all due respect to Milwaukee, right? I mean, the media scrutiny on the Cubs when they're struggling, when they should be playing really good baseball, is going to be a lot more than when the Brewers fall on their face in August, which they haven't done this year.
No, Greg, I want to talk Cubs, but anytime that I can be proven right by the national media 15 minutes after I've said something, you know.
Yeah.
When did I tell you they'd start playing 9 games in the SEC? 2026. And I told you that 25 minutes ago. Look at all the national media now tweeting that it is official. The SEC is going to start playing 9 games in 2026. Listen, I'm good looking. Your wife wants to hit this. And, you know, I'm just telling you, not accidental that the good old Uncle Monty's out in front of everybody else. Just saying. Completely vexed. I think it's happening, and it is the right thing.
But I think it's just the cover story for the bigger conversation. But even more than that, Jake, this was never a question. Yeah. Look how fast the SEC got this done, because it's been done, as I told you, because I talked to people very close to that situation who told me straight up, oh, we lay, I think I even used the word, we laid a jackpot out for the Big Ten to step in. That's exactly what they did here. We don't want to play 9 games. We're not playing 9 games. Why are you guys stuck on 9 games? Well, if you play 9 games, we'll go 5-11. All right, cool. Let's play 9 games. Done. That's, hey, let's make a new entity. Oh, 9 games, done. Right? Like, that's they set a trap, and college football stepped in it. And furthermore to that point, I almost feel like they're taking it a step further with this new entity situation, because what that math you were doing earlier in the show when we first started the conversation about, you know, hey, you're going to have a 67 or 68 team situation or whatever.
The P5, what is the P5? 67 teams?
I believe it's 67
teams. The P4,
teams, yeah.
Excuse me, 67 teams.
So the Big
You're going to have...
The Big Ten's getting what it wants in terms of the expansiveness of the CFP.
But I don't think that's what's happening here. What you're going to see, what the Big Ten wants is a 2018 playoff, or I want to be careful. I'm not saying they wanted. I heard they proposed as much as a 30-team playoff.
Mm-hmm. Every one of their teams in the conference gets an IQ as well, right?
Yeah, and they pretty much, it is, if you're bowl eligible, you're essentially in.
So soft.
And then you add, hey, you have to be bowl eligible. And the very fact that 6 wins would make you eligible for a college football playoff was a non-starter with the other 3 commissioners. I could tell you that. I was told that directly. But what they were trying to avoid was the SEC being able to stack the deck. So when you stepped in that jackpot yesterday by saying, hey, all of a sudden we are tweaking the college football playoff criteria, and it is going to be, that, hey, we're going to, what is it? Strength of schedule, or how teams are measured against their schedule. Record strength has been added to the selection committee's analysis to go beyond a team's schedule strength to assess how a team performed against the schedule. That's exactly what the SEC has been lobbying for week after week, month after month, year after year. And you stepped right into that pile of dog poop on your front porch. Because as soon as you agreed to that, it was over. Because if the SEC goes to 9 games, they're going to get the vast majority of at-large bids in the college football playoff.
Yep.
Because they have this incredibly high bar. And much to what Greg Sankey said, like, you can get upset about it. They're already playing 9 P4 games, right? Like, that's the thing that I don't think most people understand. And you look at this SEC, like, I go back to the SEC. I think he was talking about a super conference bite, Jake, when he said, like, listen to what Greg Sankey says about his conference in a super conference.
There is joy embedded in what we do, and we take pride in what was accomplished last year. Our first as a 16-member, what I think is a super conference. For all of those of you who like to speculate about super conferences, welcome to one.
I mean, is he wrong?
No.
He went from a super conference, or whatever you want to call it, to embracing the term super conference, and we're already that. Sure, let's play 9 games. I mean, he laid a trap, and you guys can tell me that I am knee padding him and Monty stretching his throat for Greg Sankey as usual. Okay, cool. I'm all of that. I'm all that. You say what you want to say, but what you can't say is I was wrong, because I will continue to tell you he wants to play 9 games. He wants a 5-11. He wants a new entity. He wants a 67 league entity or 67 team entity that puts in about 20 to 25 teams into a college football postseason. Greg Sankey wants that. And we just keep moving closer and closer to it. How many years have I been telling you they're going to an NFL model? College football is going to an NFL model. They're going to have conferences and divisions. They're going to have, what do you want to call it, 67 teams. And they're going to have about 40-something% of that get into the college football postseason, which is exactly what you have in the NFL. And it works. Why would you want to do something different when you know the people who make billions more than you have a system that works very well for the exact thing you're trying to figure out? Because you wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
You would not.
And by the way, giving Greg Sankey all these things just keeps checking off the boxes of things you can complain about. Like, what else are you going to say now about the SEC? What else is there to complain about? Because, like, 5-11, 9 conference games, like, just like you were saying, like, you're putting the Big Ten's putting themselves in a position to where, what leverage are you going to have over the SEC now? Because this was like your big thing. Oh, well, you guys don't play 9 conference games. God forbid you play 10 power opponents and we play 2, but we're not going to talk about that. 9 conference games. You got to play it or we're not playing you. Now, all of a sudden, that's no longer there for you to lean on. So what are you going to do now?
Yeah, I'll just keep saying it, man. Like, I think it is the exact right thing to do. And I'm going to go back to something else I reported, because I'm also texting with another source in the Big Ten who makes a really good point. And I'm going to read this verbatim because I think it is a really good point. Hey, Mont, I'll give you some credit for one thing. You said that Greg Sankey was not defending Michigan. He was defending the Big Ten and looking out for their best interests. Boy, does this announcement today validate that point. In fact, I can tell you in the memos and conversations we've had, Tony Petitti made it very clear the best interest of all members of the Big Ten is what has to come first, not the defense of one. And I think that when you start looking at that kind of verbiage, I think you look at Tony Petitti and the way that he handled the Michigan appeal or the throwing himself at the mercy of the Committee on Infractions. There's not a chance in the world that Tony Petitti was defending Michigan. He is now in a position where he needs Michigan to play games of consequence every single week. Postseason bans would have crippled him in this situation. Huge win for the Big Ten that Michigan doesn't get a postseason ban, right? Like the recruiting restrictions, okay, you can deal with all that. Michigan cannot take a postseason ban, and they did not. And I think it is a huge win. And I'll go back, and I think it's important to say, because we had a lot of conversations about, was Tony Petitti doing the right thing or the wrong thing? Does this not validate what I told you, that he's doing the exact right thing? He's defending the other members of the Big Ten because he has to. These conversations that we're talking about now were happening while he was trying to come up with some kind of, jackpot saving salvo to keep Michigan from being decimated. And I think he did that. And I think this right here, this compromise is what saves college football. Because you're going to hear a bunch of people talking about, oh, we need parity, Monty. We need everybody to compete. Bullshit. Parity is terrible for business. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I don't want, if there's 67 teams in this, I don't want 67 teams who have the exact same talent, the exact same schedule, to hell with that. I want you to have to compete and build a system so that we have a way of looking at, hey, they're doing a good job and they didn't fire Dave Aranda, so they're winning and Baylor's not. Hey, they cut, and I'm particularly picking on the Big 12 here for a reason. Hey, they cut Mike Gundy's salary and then announced it publicly. And then Mike Gundy announced that he was, previous to this year's portal cycle, he refused to pay players out of the portal to come to Oak State. We can't have that anymore. We can't have this nonsense where you have presidents and athletic directors and head coaches, J.D. Wicker, blowing the conference off at the knees by saying stupid stuff and then acting even more foolishly. So what Tony Petitti did here was compromise for the sake of everybody else. And I think that needs to be recognized, because Tony Petitti did the exact right thing here, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more, and I think the Big Ten is, the Big Ten's got to just continue to work on getting deeper as a conference. Everyone's fixated on this Michigan conversation, and like just all the not like the Northwestern thing, and I'm just sitting here saying, like, at some point, like, again, not to bring up the same stuff every day, but James Franklin's got to get better, dude. You got to win more big games. Like, Ohio State can't be the only school in the conference that wins big games and goes deep into the college football playoff. And like that just can't happen. And yeah, sure. Did Michigan, win a national championship 2 seasons ago or whatever? Yeah. But before that, when had you been in the conversation? When were you really relevant in football before that? Like it's been the Ohio State show for years in this conference. And I would really love to see, I'd love it to be Ohio State, Oregon, SC, at some point when all the bad actors at Michigan get fired and they move on, Michigan, I would love to see Nebraska start to improve and actually become I don't even need Nebraska to be contending to win the conference, but be an 8-win team, be a 9-win team, like be a team that's competitive and is pushing these conference matchups forward. Because again, what you're not going to get away from here, and I'm going to hold the Big Ten accountable as hell to this. If you're going to be out here dictating that other conferences play 9 conference games, you better have really compelling, really competitive conference games on your slate. And that better work out for you, because when you have Ohio State beating the hell out of Mr. Google Me guy, and then you're like, yeah, man, this 9-conference game thing is really, gosh, it's really wearing on us. Well, I don't feel sorry for you. You asked for this. This was your doing.
But I also think the other thing, and I see people commenting, like, and Eric's going to think I'm picking on him. We just got a huge comment on, but Eric was talking about expanding the Big Ten and the SEC. Why? You don't need to do that. Like, I hope people understand. Greg Sankey has said this how many times? Expansion and moving teams around is terrible for college football and college sports in general. It really is demoralizing to. You look at this nonsense in the Pac-12. How demoralized were Oregon State and Washington State fans?
Mm-hmm.
You look at the Texas-Oklahoma departure. How demoralizing were Big 12 fans? Massively. But I understand you get almost a rebound. Is it a 30% rebound by adding teams? It certainly is not. And I think one of the things that this new entity does is it eliminates that.
Yeah.
It eliminates realignment and back channeling, and there's no need to expand a conference in football because conference football is dead.
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it is. The SEC doesn't go away. The NCAA doesn't go away. Basketball, track and field, all the other sports stay under that umbrella and do much better financially, by the way, because now you can split your revenue off into this new entity, which is a new revenue stream and a new business model and a new business entity as far as taxes go and finances go and reporting and revenue and expenses. Like, it's a totally different P&L. And I think that's exactly what it needs. Whoa. I cannot be seeing this. And I'm going to have to go back and find it because we got a huge. Is Mayor McCluskey in the comments section? I believe he is. I saw well, and then comments came all. There it is. Well. I'm disappointed you didn't start off with a Utah Tech bomb. Usually that's what we get. Headband guy, good to see you, man. Look at that. We got Greg Hawkins in the comments section. We got Mayor McCluskey in the comments section. Good to see you, man. Hope you oh, there it is. Does this mean Utah Tech is playing in the SEC now?
Stay hard.
Exactly right. Yes, Mayor and Greg, it's almost like old times. Almost. Wasikowski, I seriously think they need to leave it at 12. 1 G5 auto bid. I just don't.
Why? Like, my question is, why limit the sport in that way? Like,
why damage the sport in that way?
Yeah, I mean, why would you not? And again, this is my take. This is how I would have it. I'm not a huge proponent of the G5. Like, I'm not saying they all suck. I just think that they're not capable of competing with the power conferences. It's just too, in my opinion, they're very different business models.
I would agree.
And I just think it's a logical take to be like, yeah, the G5's got to be included. So for me, I'm saying, hey, the G5, you got to figure your stuff out. Let's focus on the power conferences right now. And for me, hey, put all these teams in one big pot. Create a system, whether it's wins, losses, whether it's a point system, like whatever, however you want to do it, to where we can say, okay, cool. We don't need humans to decide. No more humans, no more committees, no more computers, none of that nonsense. It's all on the field. You either won the game or you lost the game, and that's going to decide if you're in or not. And so for me, like, I like the 12-team playoff we have right now, but I just think it's really limiting. I think the sport, there's so much more potential in the playoff model to make more money, to have more matchups, to like, again, I always bring this up. One of my favorite things about the NFL is we can project in November, or late October, where a team's at and what they need to do. Like, we can say, okay, hey, the Bengals are here. They got to rip off 6 in a row to have a chance. Like, we can't really do that in college football the same way we can in the NFL because of the sentiment of the playoff committee currently. So why not put them all in one pot? Why not split it right down the middle And as for all the other sports, just leave it how it is. Like, I think that works. That's a real world, tangible solution to the problems that have plagued college football.
Yeah, and I think the best part about all this is that this nonsense with Mercer in the middle of November goes away.
Yeah.
I think that's
the scheming
so
of the power
bad.
schools, playing nobody opponent. Arkansas, Pine Bluff. What are we doing?
Arkansas,
what are we doing?
Pine Bluff.
What are we doing with Abilene last year, Joey?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing, dude?
Yeah. Just go to conference games and non-con. Why would you do that? Bro, I think you have to come along. So many people don't want to embrace the reality of what's happening, right? Like, no, don't expand the Big Ten and the SEC.
It's just unnecessary,
right? I mean, it doesn't matter. Might as well go to 80 teams, 4 conferences of 20, and the P4 adds top G5 schools to get to 20. Can you do that? I don't know. I don't believe. And again, I'm not being political with this in any way, shape, or form. But when you have the educational climate that we have in this country right now, the funding is not there to do that, in my opinion. Because you look at with the elimination of the Department of Education and how much money is no longer flowing from Washington to the states and all of these universities for education, they don't have the extra money for projects to do a number of that. You just don't have that. And it's why schools like Boise getting their stadium stuff together before this happened was so critical. D-Rock Irish, when Petiti stated a few weeks ago that 8-4 Big Ten team would be worthy of a playoff consideration, then I knew something like this would happen.
But what's the composition of the 8-4? That's what the conversation is. What 8-4 in the NFL is very different than 8-4 in the Big Ten. 8-4 in the Big Ten is very different than 8-4 in the SEC or the ACC or the Big 12. And that's what's hard.
If you're 8-4, you're probably sub 500 in the Big Ten. Because if you've won 8 games and you've lost 4, I'm assuming with the weak-ass non-conference schedule that most of the Big Ten plays, you probably didn't have a great Big Ten season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one of you. It's just not a. This is not how we should be doing a postseason. I don't think. Big 12 injury report out, and your point is
that's cool.
Your point is. It should be. It always should be. Can we, Connor Stallions? Hello, Connor. Can we eliminate the FCS cupcake games for the P4? Man, I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, if you stop going to Central Michigan sideline, we can, yeah.
Yeah. Jedi Buck, Ohio State carried the Big Ten since 2000. Very much so. Very much so. SC versus Ohio State would be a good championship game. But it is almost impossible to get that at this point. One, because SC's not capable, unfortunately. Stanford at 2.5 dog versus Hawaii. Pathetic. Go ACC. Yeah. But Stanford's one of those universities that winning football games is not as important as it would be. 2018 playoff doesn't make sense. It absolutely makes sense. In what world does it not make sense? Like 28 teams in a postseason? Yes, that makes sense. A 28-team playoff does not make sense. In our current situation, is that what you mean? Okay. Yeah, expanding the current playoff to 28 teams makes absolutely no sense.
And here, let me lengthen the sentence. Expanding the current playoff to 28 teams so the Big Ten can have 7 AQs definitely doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I just don't think anybody would agree to that. I just don't know how you would get somebody to agree with that. The Buffalo Hunter, tinfoil hat take. ESPN killed the pack because this model is cleaner with only 4 power conferences. I completely
Infowars.com.
I can tell you we had exclusive reporting on that. And if you go back and you look at what we reported in that window, ESPN tried to help the Pac-12 get a media rights deal done. And the Pac-12 would not move off its spot. They wanted $50 million per school per year. And that was never going to happen. Never. And it's why Fox Sports pulled out, CBS pulled out, ESPN pulled out. And the Pac-12 essentially handed the Big 12 a TV deal. I completely disagree. The Pac-12 killed itself, and it never had to happen.
Well, and
it never had to happen.
The lack of vision is incredible from if you're talking Pac-12. I mean, again, we on this show have been talking about an expanded college football playoff, a new entity, basically just the evolution of the sport for, years, like 3-4 years now at least. I mean, we've been talking about this back to UCLA and Oregon going to the Big Ten before that happened. I mean, I can remember talking about it then. So, I mean, this is hardly new. And I largely agree with the point. Like, we have amazing sourcing. We get a lot of great information, but with all due respect to ourselves, like if we have an idea that something's coming down the pipe in 5 years, like they should definitely know, you know what I mean? Like people who are in these jobs doing this every day. Like if you're an administrator over an athletic department and you don't have the vision to be like, yeah, like we probably should just do the thing that pushes our conference forward another 5 years. Because by the time that expires, there's going to be a whole new look in college football. So the idea that you never embrace that concept is just absolutely incredible.
Well, and I also think you have to look at what is going to happen and how it's going to happen. And you have to ask yourself, well, what is best for all of college football? And what's best for all of college football is you have to compete to build a business model that allows you to win on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you guys hate when I say that they're going to an NFL model. Why do all of these universities have football general managers now? And who do the general managers report to? The president. Like you look at the fact that football GMs don't report to most athletic directors. Coaches report to GMs who report to presidents. Football revenue is that important. The GM is essentially the athletic director for the football department. And his job is to make sure they're winning games and they're making money. It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way it has to work. And I just think, I don't know. I don't know what is going on, but why is everybody getting filtered right now? We're not even an hour into the show and we already have a massive filtering issue. But
yeah, okay. It looks like this. I've never heard of this dude's name, but Buddy commented this. Yeah, Buddy commented the same thing like 20 times.
Well, that'll get you filtered by YouTube. TJ Beck, Indiana and their current non-conference schedule is now so detrimental to them with this playoff format. It is going to crush them. We talked about that yesterday on the show. Big Daddy Dallas. Ooh, I thought you were Big Daddy Magic, who's MIA right now. Haven't heard from Big Daddy Magic in a week at least. I thought 12 was enough. 20 will take the season long into February. I think if you look at the way this format will work, you're no longer going to, in my opinion, you're no longer going to have a conference championship game, obviously. This system, and I think this should not be overlooked in any way, shape, or form, preserves the bowl games because you want postseason games for your teams. So you'll still have bowl season while teams prepare for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think you're going to see that the playoff is going to be a longer season by several weeks. But I think it will end very close to the Super Bowl. I still maintain, I think the most likely scenario is one weekend will be the college football playoff championship and the next weekend will be the Super Bowl. I think that's the most likely because you have that week between the AFC championship game and the Super Bowl. You're going to slot in the championship game of college football right there because the NFL loses money on the Pro Bowl and players don't want to play in it. So I think the Pro Bowl is going to go away and you're going to forever get this, whether it is touch football, whether it is flag football, whatever it winds up being. And I also think you're going to see that ESPN, and I think there's a real good chance that somebody like ESPN or the NFL, and my guess is it'd be the NFL, will own part of this new entity. Because it makes no sense for them not to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I think you look at the way that the NFL and ESPN are now so tightly in business. I could absolutely see ESPN and Disney, ABC, ESPN, who already own all of the television rights and multimedia rights for the college football playoff. I could absolutely see them owning part of this new college football playoff entity or this new college football entity.
And I think there's a lot of value in the bowl games having more relevance. I don't care about all these rando ass bowl games right now. I could care less about 6-win teams competing against. Like, it just doesn't matter to me. And I think that, transforming bowl season into early college football playoff season, I think is a brilliant idea for the sport. I mean, that can only help your revenue. That only encourages more competition for the sponsors of that bowl. Like, that's the type of behavior that the sport needs, without a doubt.
Okay, why is this such a big deal? That you're on the right today and I'm on the left. Does that make you feel better? Does that make it bugs because I have this light bright behind me. So I have to change the Advocates logo so you can read it. Right? We go with the yellow. Can you read the green one? Not really. The black one? Not at all. It's the yellow one. Does it really bother you guys that much?
Yeah, Chad, is it that big a deal? Does it bother you that much?
That I was on the I don't know. It's fine. Matt Ritson for $2. Dallas Baptist, new Pac-12 baseball only. Yeah, that was yesterday. I think it's a good move. Dallas Baptist is a good baseball program. I mean, yeah. The Office fan. At some point, ESPN is only going to want Big Ten, SEC. The ACC, Big 12, Pac-9, G5 will need to form their own league. I don't know.
No.
That is so not smart business. What on earth would make you think that ESPN, who are likely the most significant business partners with the Big 12 and the ACC, and go ahead, say it with me. What do the Big 12 and the ACC dominate? College basketball. So let me get this right. You're going to tell the ACC and the Big 12 to pound sand, and we only want to be in business with the Big 10 and the SEC. What do you think that's going to do with their basketball rights? Do you guys think through this shit before you say it? I'm going to guess you don't. There is no world where the Big 10 and the SEC just go and do their own thing. They don't have the ability to do that. If they did, they would have. That's bad for business.
Yeah.
Because whether you want to acknowledge it or not, and I don't know, I guess you're an Oklahoma fan, so you're an SEC fan. I don't know how to break this news to you. The money the Big 12 is making right now is significant, and it is what a guy like Brett Yormark is doing. And again, I have reported this repeatedly, and now everybody and their brother has run with it. Do you think it's coincidental or just accidental or by chance that Brett Yormark and Greg Sankey are in lockstep in business models? That's just like somebody farted and it just happened that Greg Sankey farted too, or like
apparently.
Guy, think through this. Do you guys? And I have the bite right here. We saved it for this particular reason. I say that and then let me make sure I have it. Listen to Brett Yormark here, or I'm sorry, listen to Greg Sankey. Listen to Brett Sankey here.
5-11 is fair. We want to earn it on the field. It might not be the best solution today for the Big 12, given your comments about AQs. But long term, knowing the progress we're making, the investments we're making, it's the right format for us. And I'm doubling down today on 5-11. And I know Jim Phillips will, and I'm sure some of the other conference commissioners will as well.
Funny thing is that sounds an awful lot like what we're getting out of the SEC on a pretty regular basis. We want to do it on the field. I want. Wait, didn't somebody say? And you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't somebody say we need ideas going forward?
I don't need lectures from others about good of the game. I don't lecture others about good of the game. And coordinating press releases about good of the game. Again, okay, you can issue your press statement, but I'm actually looking for ideas to move us forward.
Huh. And the funny thing is, and I know that ESPN only wants the Big Ten and the SEC. So Brett can go, forearm strengthen himself in the corner. But didn't he also talk about like how to put the college football playoff thing in place, and his athletic director or his president, like, we need people and we're going to audit this thing?
They are doing a full audit of the selection process.
And didn't we talk about on the show yesterday? The selection process completely changed.
Oh.
Huh.
What?
Bro, I understand that I'm just Uncle Monty, and trust me, bro, is my main source. Greg Sankey talks to Brett Yormark on a weekly, couple time a week basis. There is no, hey, Greg Sankey doesn't even know they're alive. They're business partners. Greg Sankey and Brett Yormark think remarkably alike. They think remarkably alike. And I think it is one of the things you're learning here is, speaking of one big pot, all this is the mafia. That's all this is. Greg Sankey's the boss, and he's got three capos underneath him. Who's an earner and who's not an earner?
Facial recognition.
Because Brett Yormark's an earner. That dude's making money for his conference, doing deals. Kansas City, Dallas with the Cowboys for their facility. Hey, our championship game, our pro day, like, we're just doing this stuff all over the. What is Tony Petitti doing?
And with all due respect,
battling, trying to keep as many, like, I understand it, but you can't be playing checkers while the Don is playing chess.
Yeah, Tony Petitti's burning cash trying to help Michigan get the hell out of their own way.
And Tony Petitti is trying to find a way to keep the bottom half of his conference relevant. But meanwhile, Brett Yormark is standing up here saying we want to do it on the field.
5-11 is fair. We want to earn it on the field. It might not be the best solution today for the Big 12, given your comments about AQs. But long term, knowing the progress we're making, the investments we're making, it's the right format for us. And I'm doubling down today on 5-11. And I know Jim Phillips will, and I'm sure some of the other conference commissioners will as well.
And
he says that with a lot of confidence, bro.
And again, I go back to this notion that ESPN and if you think on any level that the Big Ten doesn't have a little bit of buyer's remorse with their TV deal, not including ESPN today. Did you guys see the numbers that ESPN's already allegedly doing on subscribers to DTC, direct to consumer, which launched today?
I'm guilty. You got me.
You got me too.
I subscribed.
Millions of us bought DTC from ESPN today. And you look at some of these numbers, and I think this absolutely matters. And if I have to put this together for you, I'm happy to do it. But you look at some of the numbers that go into cable subscribers. Look at the numbers of cable subscribers and look at them plummeting. Who is the only television and entertainment entity that is making money in this graph? It is ESPN. Because again, every time somebody signs up for cable or satellite, ESPN gets $25. It does not matter if that person bought because of ESPN or ever watches a moment of ESPN. ESPN gets a check for $25 for every new subscriber because they're baked into every single system. And I continue to try and tell you guys this. Everybody wants to be in business with ESPN. The Big Ten wants to be in business with ESPN. Why is Notre Dame in the ACC? Do you think they're in the ACC because that's somehow awesomeness? They're in the ACC because ESPN has a large stake in the ACC. And Notre Dame wants to be in business with ESPN. Who pushed him in that direction? Who continues? I would also remind you, who carries a lot of water in that college football playoff town? ESPN and Notre Dame. They're business partners already, and they want to be. And I just will continue to sit here and tell you, if you don't have to like ESPN, and you can continue to talk down on ESPN, and Big Ten fan likes to tell you, there is no question from the people that I speak to regularly in television, the Big Ten did everything they could do to get into business with ESPN and ABC and could not make the numbers work. And Fox and CBS went way over the top on the Big Ten TV deal. Way over the top. Like way, way, way over the top. And it is what it is, man. And I
think ESPN, speculating obviously, but I think that why did they go way over the top? Well, because the Big Ten is sitting here saying, well, hey, we've got ESPN that wants to work with us, and this is the number. If we're not going to go with ESPN, we're going to need to get paid time and a half on that. We're going to need to get paid what ESPN was going to pay us plus another chunk to make it worth our while.
Yep.
Which is why I think, they went over the top with the Big Ten TV deal. And I also think that people don't consider this, like ESPN is the gatekeeper on the TV side. They shepherd everybody. They work with everybody. They make it. They basically make the wheel turn on the TV side. And Greg Sankey, in my opinion, is that person on the football side, on the administration side.
Absolutely.
And I just don't think it's rocket science. I think that you're exactly right that Greg Sankey, got Tony Petitti in the Big Ten to kind of step into this trap, if you will, and kind of just walked him right down the path, like basically sold the hell out of this thing. And now, in my opinion, I think the Big Ten is kind of, they don't have a choice. They have to lay in the bed that they made here because, eventually the Big Ten is going to complain about the fact that the SEC has an absolute chokehold on the playoff system because of how we're considering strength of schedule and strength of record now. And again, you guys wanted this. And I think that's what people aren't quite grasping with this. Everyone's like, oh, the Big Ten won. The Big Ten's got this great victory. They got the SEC to cave.
Does this happen? Does this happen if Kevin Warren is still the commissioner of the Big Ten? I'm going to tell you it doesn't. And that's it. And I'm not telling you Tony Petitti is doing a bad job. He's not. Tony Petitti walked in as an underdog because he just doesn't have the relationships in place. He doesn't have the relationships in place.
But I don't look at Tony and be like, oh man, Tony is this big swinging guy that, you need intimidated strong, but like you need to respect him and he's done a lot of huge, like, I don't really look at Tony that way. I think he's done a good enough job as the commissioner of the Big Ten, but I largely agree. I think Kevin Warren is probably the best commissioner you've had in some time.
And I think you look at, and it's not Tony's fault. Tony Petitti walked into this absolute jackpot with Michigan, and it's really been the story of his tenure. And you're looking at guys like, and Jim Phillips, I think deserves the commissioner of the ACC deserves some credit. But again, he's had to deal with so much other turbulence. The two commissioners that have not had interpersonal punching of face in their conference, right? Yormark and Greg Sankey. They have been laser focused on making money and moving forward. And I think that's why they have such a good relationship. And I am amazed. I think if Kevin Warren was still the commissioner of the Big Ten, we are having a very different conversation. We are having a very, very different conversation. And
I think the Michigan situation would have been handled much more bluntly and much more forcefully than it was if Kevin Warren was the commissioner.
Jim Harbaugh would have been suspended the moment that whole thing broke. If Kevin Warren were still in charge and Kevin Warren knew the scope and size of that situation, I don't have Kevin Warren is a very confident, decisive actor. And I think he's done a great job for the beloved. What he's doing with the Chicago Bears now, moving off the lakefront.
Stupid.
But, well, I don't know if it's stupid. We're going to find out. But, is what it is. Tony Petiti likes AQs. Well, I would think so, too. Jay Brandon, I subscribe to ESPN DTC.
Don't know how you didn't.
I don't know how you didn't. And, hey, saw, dude.
Saw, dude.
Saw, brah. I bought McGriddles today. Damn you. That sounds so good, dude. I lost another pound today.
No.
Got up, got naked, walked downstairs. I don't know why my scale is in my kitchen.
Yeah, I know what time it is.
Yeah, walked downstairs swinging like it was never mind. Anyway, lost another pound today.
Macaque.
I'm having this whole thing where I'm really struggling to eat breakfast. This week, eating oats has been a real struggle for me. And my wife gets this farm to table box. She got raspberries this week. Oh my God. If you have not had fresh picked raspberries, they're so good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that nonsense is that you get in the store when you buy raspberries, because that's not how these raspberries taste. It is amazing. But anyway, what is the difference between DTC and Plus? Completely different. If you have an ESPN Plus membership, it was $11.99 a month. You don't get everything. At ESPN, I am paying $29.99 a month, and I get ESPN, Disney, and Hulu, and I get everything on ESPN. I can watch SportsCenter. I can watch live events. I can watch.
They were streaming Get Up through it this morning.
Yeah, and did you hear this deal with WWE that was announced? I meant to get to this. I think Tuesday it was announced. WWE and ESPN are in business again, and WWE is leaving Peacock, and they are.
Monty, who else is in business with the WWE in college football? I'm trying to rack my brain because I know that it's not all just it's not everyone works together like we're talking about.
Well, Tony Petiti in the Big Ten is what you're going to say, right?
Oh no, that's right. It's the Big 12 who has the championship belt of the conference. That's right.
It's pretty remarkable. It is. Nebraska, Steve. Huge week one for you guys. Huge. You guys, Steve. I think this is a huge year for Nebraska. I think you have to come out. And when do they play? I think they play a week from today. Isn't that right? Next Thursday. I think it is so imperative that you come out and just absolutely, you got to win games, man. You cannot. Nebraska, with that, I think it's Cincinnati next Thursday. You have to boot heel them because you have a really easy schedule. Matt Rule, I want to say, and I should look it up, but I'm pretty sure it's Cincinnati, Houston Christian, then Michigan. Is it Michigan State? Like, you have a really easy schedule out of the gate.
I thought you said Houston Christian.
Cincinnati, Akron, Houston Christian, Michigan State, Maryland, Minnesota, Northwestern, USC, UCLA. At Epstein U, Iowa. You should go 11-1. That's a one-loss schedule. I don't want to hear about it. It is. Matt Rule has zero excuse. Zero excuse. Well said, Monty. Bottom half of the Big Ten is weak. Very much.
Agreed.
I kind of miss Warren as commissioner. He pulled a St. Valentine's Day massacre on the Pac-12. Well, the Pac-12 really orchestrated that behind the snes. I mean,
some lady named Carol started that snowball.
The Big Lubbock. Boy, you want to talk about week 1 having to kick ass.
Dude, your boy better perform. Just saying.
Joey. Come on. Sooner in Seattle. I thought ESPN was partnering with Fox on a streaming service. They are.
It's an option.
They are. And that, I think, launches in October. But they are going to on an all-in sports app. Because I think we as consumers, we're tired. And if you look at the cable numbers, excuse me, where is that? This one right here. Bro, have you guys seen this number? I thought that said 69 years old. Like, that is wild to me. That the largest news entity's average age of viewer on television and cable is 69 years old.
Yeah, because where are the rest of us? Not on cable news.
And strikingly, the 25 to 42 do not watch the news. Shockingly, and we wonder why we're in this country. Because the average 25 to 42-year-old in this country does not watch the news. Not the local news, not the national news. And what's their number one reason? Fatigue. They are disenchanted with the disconnect between Washington and Main Street. And they're just simply not watching the news. This was shocking to me today. This right here, shocking to me. 69 years old. Wild. John Dry, how the heck are you? Big Lubbock. The Big 12 is the only conference with media contracts with ESPN, Fox, Time Warner, NBC, and CBS. Yeah. He's got a great deal. I'm telling you that Brett Yormark understands deal making. He understands making deals to make money. He understands. And the thing that Brett Yormark does so well, and this has been described to me by multiple sources in television, Brett Yormark will make a deal. Okay, we're in bed with ESPN for football. All right, let's stack deals on top of that deal. Okay, it's Big 12 football presented by your mom's butt wipe. And on Dr. Pepper Field championship game brought to you by State Farm, presented by, butt packings impacts, right? Like he is a master at that. But why is Brett Yormark able to do that? Brett Yormark is the Don of his own family, right? Again, if college football is the La Cosa Nostra, right? Like you have Greg Sankey, and then you've got the Capos. You've got the Big 12 family. The head of that family is Brett Yormark, and he's got two guys that are in charge of money, one for football, one for basketball. They each have enforcers underneath them, sales guys, right? Like he's got an entire business department built out for each major sport, and then he has multiple people administrating all the other sports. Why do you think Big 12 softball is so significant and makes them good money? Because he's got people that their only job is to monetize Big 12 football.
Because it's all
softball.
Part of the plan.
Like he's got, if you look at some of the facilities in the Big 12, and people make this, the Big 12 only distributed $12 on their TV deal. Okay, cool. But look how much other money they distributed. Look at Utah's new baseball facility. Look at, like, you just looking at this stuff and you're like, Jesus, how are you affording to do that? It's because you're in a money-making opportunity. And if you don't make money, you're going to hear about it. You're going to hear about it. Why do I always wax poetic about, all of the great athletic directors in this conference? Because I think there's a lot of really good athletic directors in this conference. Now, obviously, Utah and BYU are elite money-making operations in athletics. And I know that. I've covered them. This is in my backyard. But I can tell you, I look around the rest of this. You look at the NIL and booster money in the state of Texas, there's one school failing. That'd be Baylor. Baylor's getting circles run around them by Texas Tech. And I keep going back to pay a softball pitcher $1 million. How did that work out for him? Really well. Really well. And you look at
one of the most watched championship games in college softball history.
And I think they won the championship, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
You look at the way that money is being spent in this conference. The only way you can spend money is if you make money. And I think you guys, it is, you should not look past that. There was no trap. It has been a rumor mill for a while. The Big Ten was happy with 11-5. No, they were not.
Yeah, what are you talking about, dude?
There is no, rumor mills are bullshit. You either know information or you don't. At no point was the Big Ten on board with a 5-11. There's no such thing, by the way, as an 11+5. That doesn't.
So wait, if they were on board with a 5-11, then why was the talk of the town that Tony wanted a 20+ team playoff model with 7 AQs for the Big Ten?
And if they were on board with 11+5, and why didn't it happen already? Because they have never been on board with that. I love it. I love stuff like this because you guys think that what you hear from the college football mouthpieces is gospel. Do you know how many of those people are paid to talk? Do you know how many of those people are fed information? So you have to really go and say, okay, well, who's got the track record? There's a lot of dudes who don't have track records. First of all, there's no such thing as 11+5. That's not a thing. It's 5 plus 11. Would you understand what those 5 are? That'd be the Power 4 conference champions and the G5 champion. Right? So that's the 5, and then there are 11 at-large bids. Why is the Big Ten fought 5 plus 11 for all of this time? And I have explained this in detail on the show. Because they know that on a year in and year out basis, if it goes to 11 at-large bids, they're going to struggle to get more than 4 teams in that playoff. And what they've all done, and I've explained this in detail, what they've all done is they've done the math for the last 5 years. Every conference has done the math. They are all acutely aware that the SEC will get the lion's share, as many as 6. Over the last 5 years, the SEC would have had as many as 6 in a year in a 5-11 format. Do the math. That doesn't make the Big Ten money. So this idea that the Big Ten was happy with 11+5 is complete nonsense. Yeah. That is just simply not the case. It never has been, and it never will be. It just doesn't. Steve Meyer, Kansas is dumping a bunch of cash. Yes, they are.
And it will be well worth their spend, in my opinion.
I totally agree. I think, man, this is a huge year for Kansas. Kansas is, again, going to be in a position, you guys, where if they can find a way on a more regular basis, because last year it was just too late. They were just not good enough early. If they can find a way to win those one-score games, because and I said this yesterday, I know, but how many times last year did Kansas lose by a play or two?
A lot.
Like far too many. Fresno State, Wagner, at Missouri, West Virginia, Cincinnati, at UCF, at Texas Tech, K-State, Oak State, Arizona, at Iowa State, at Utah. They have 4 Big 12 championship contenders on their schedule in the second half. They are going to have every opportunity to be in position to go and play for a conference championship at the end of the year. They have to handle business. When you have Tech, K-State, Iowa State, and Utah on your schedule in the last 6 weeks of the season, dude, you are going to, the Kansas Jayhawks with those smoking hot red pants, and
stay hard.
I do love them. They're going to be a factor, and you got to get on board with it. You absolutely, positively have to get on board with it. There's just no way not to.
Yeah, can't ignore
not to. right? You have to. Oh boy, bots in the chat. Bots in the chat. Bots in the chat.
Yeah.
Our King of Thailand, ACC 40% equal distribution, 60 must be earned on the field. Have to. Okay, here's John Hamm mea culpaing for $5. Yes, I typed it backwards, 511. You didn't type it backwards. They fought it because they wanted the SEC at 9. Guy, fuck. You just keep doing, you paying me $5 to say stuff that's not true doesn't make it true. How many more times can I say this? The SEC never really fought 9 games. This comment right here is completely false and not even an iota, not a shred of truth. Not a shred of truth. It is just not factual. I have been telling you this for over a year now. The SEC wants to play 9 games. Because what happens when the SEC plays 9 games? They dominate. Because their strength of schedule, everybody gets another power game. Is the Big Ten doing that? No. Is the Big Ten going to add another power game every single year? No, they're not. If the SEC goes to 9 games, they're essentially adding a 9th power conference game to their schedule because the entire conference, 3/4 of that conference is a playoff contender. So this idea that they fought it because they wanted the SEC at 9 is complete bullshit. It's not true. It is not true. And it wears me out that people just flip on college football shows on YouTube and they're like, oh, this guy's amazing. There's nothing to factually back that up. Nothing. And I've talked to people, I've talked to athletic directors, I've talked to coaches, I've talked to players, I've talked to TV executives. Nobody and I would think Tony Petitti, nobody, including Tony Petitti, thinks that the SEC was against playing 9 games. You know how we know that? Because Greg Sankey said he was in favor of it. But what did he say? Give us a 5-11, we'll play 9 games. So this idea that they fought it because they wanted the SEC to play 9 games is complete nonsense. Nonsense. Not true in any way, shape, or form. Someone stop that damn spam bot.
Yeah, it's getting worked on.
It's going away. There you go. It gets picked up pretty quick. It's hard for spam bots to live on YouTube. It's one of the things I love about it.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I love about it. Gumby says money. Exactly. John Dry, like the football game against ASU, obvious calls were missed. No question. I don't think there's any doubt. It is what it is. Johnny Gonzalez, is there a direct correlation between the higher the money amount on the super chat, the farther from the truth it is? There very well could be.
That's our world now, right? The more you pay, the more true it is.
But it's who John Hamm is, with all due respect. John Hamm is always going to say stuff that just is complete BS. Like just complete BS. There's just nothing to back that up. And you can say it's true. You might actually want to have facts to back that up. And you don't. You just don't. And I think you look at the 48,000 people or whatever, 48,000 people watching the show right now. Go do your research, thousands of people. Go do your research.
Get on the internet.
When you want to know the truth, you come here. And what I always tell you is take what we say and go research it. That's what I would say. What the heck? I was watching TV and the Sandman must have got my old ass, woke up and looked at the clock and thought it was AM. Dude, those are the best kind of dude.
What do you live in Thailand?
Mike
the
Smith. Sleep I got last night after the calf cramp at 11:30 and then like the 35-minute pee session with nighttime pee guy that I had, I can only tell you that it was one of the single greatest nights of sleep. 2 hours of REM sleep is amazing. 2 hours of REM sleep is the single greatest thing I've ever experienced in my entire life.
Cash.
It is wild to me how many people don't get 2 hours of REM sleep. And I tell you, friends, if you're not getting 2 hours of REM sleep, you just you're missing out, because you wake up and you feel refreshed, as refresh gets. Go Blue. Okay. Nebraska Steve, where's the NFL game streaming on? No, have no idea.
No idea.
Hey, man, I tip the cap to you because you're only here because we have a lot of people watching the show. So I appreciate that you guys are up in this piece, trying to get your stream NFL games on.
In whatever color you want to comment in for your criteria.
Idiots. Calf cramps in the middle of the night are prime cursing time.
Oh, dude, they're the worst, dude. They are the absolute worst. I mean, that is suffering, bro.
It is brutal. Charlie. Hey, Charlie, what's up, dude? Hey, from Denver. Hey,
what's up,
hey, brah. Good to see you. Thanks for ruining my prize picks last night. I should just stop playing prize picks with the Dodgers. I really should. Jedi Buck says go blow. Okay. Yeah. Can Shohei strike somebody out for me just once?
Nope.
That would be amazing. All right. Let me ask you real quick before we move on. Do you guys believe that the G5 should have an automatic bid to whatever the highest level of college football championship is? Jake, what do you think?
I mean, should they have a bid? I mean, yeah, I think there should be the champion of the G5 should have access to the postseason in college football. But that's it. I think if you want to participate, with regularity, you got to be I do believe there should be a way to like buy your way in, or like, if a school who, started
buy your way in.
Yeah, like, so if you're a G5 school and you're not, like, over the last decade or over the last 5 years, you haven't been a school that, I'm not talking about Boise State or any of the usual suspects, the UNLVs or, whoever it might be. I'm talking about, the people and the teams who are not regularly in the CFP. So, your YOs or your San Diego State or your San Diego State, South Dakota State, whoever you want to point to. If those teams made a decision where they want to start, investing at that level and they want to get involved, there should be a financial way to get involved for consideration to get into the CFP. And I think the champion of the G5, G6, whatever it's going to be, should have an AQ into the postseason. And I think that anything more than that, I think is just asking for trouble, because again, once you expand that, now you're asking, people who don't want to be involved at that level to try and get involved. And that's the precise problem we find ourselves in right now, is that you've got a hodgepodge of schools that want to be involved, don't want to be involved. Some are dipping their toe in, some are not. And I think that is the precise issue with the G5. And for me, I think that we love, as sports fans, we love the underdog. In professional sports, it's known as the wild card, right? The bubble team. That the play-in team in the NBA that came from 10 games back in August and had this ridiculous run and was able to get in. And I think that college football could benefit from that on some level. But I certainly don't think we should have 10 G5 teams that are in consideration. Give me the G5 champion, and if someone wants to level up and play in the CFP regularly and not be the champion, that I think should also be an option, because I do think that'll be a thing once this whole thing gets ironed out and is being played with regularity.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting conversation, because I think, just the sources that we've spoken to about this, I don't think there's a consensus amongst the P4 on whether or not to include the G5 in this. And I think at a very baseline, you have to give the very best programs that are built to win, Boise State, Oregon State, pick your flavor. I think Memphis has to be in that conversation. You have to give them an opportunity to play at the highest level, because they've earned that. The problem is, how sustainable is it financially? Because there's a lot of people believe that it's a $500 million operation to to compete at the highest level of college football every year. And how many G5s can scratch a check for $500 million every year?
Yeah.
I don't know that is feasible. I don't know that it is. Mike Smith, man alive, the bots are working overtime. Dude, you're not kidding.
Yeah, and I
You are
don't
not
know who
kidding.
commented it, but yeah, I mean the football season's back, so you're going to start seeing this behavior more often now that it's back.
Yeah, and I wish YouTube would do something about it. It's one of the reasons that we've kind of, I'm not going to say we've slowed our roll. We've put a lot more effort into X and growing our audience on X because you just don't see that. You don't see your stream interrupted, but it is frustrating, dude. I mean, it is. I think our channel, we're not a very big channel. You know, obviously we have over 100,000 subs, but we're not one of the biggest channels on YouTube. I don't even know what live streams on larger channels are doing. Like, that's crazy. Mike, they do not want to invest in football like P4, so they need to go bye-bye. I don't even know that it's that. And I don't disagree with this either. Plenty of good games to watch in the G5. Let them give them a chance to get their best teams in the playoff if you're having a 12-plus game. I just don't think on the regular teams can compete at that level. I think you're asking an awful lot. It's hundreds of millions of dollars to run a top tier football program.
Yeah, and I just don't think it's necessary to ask the G5 to do that. We don't need.
I agree.
That's not a necessary step that has to happen. It makes perfect sense for the G5 to have their own playoff model running parallel to the power conferences, just the same way we do now. Like, I know this is rocket science. Hey, there's a G5 game on TV and there's also a power game on TV. Like, we already do that. So you just need to change the mechanics of it in the G5 to make it, to make it to a point where they have their own playoff system and match that playoff system to whatever this new entity is going to be at the power level and go about your business. That's all you have to do. And the champion of the G5 can play up to try to win a legitimate national championship on the football field. I just don't think that's that hard to put together.
Yeah, I think it is something. I think it is something definitely to keep their eye on. From what I was told today by multiple sources, that without question, the G5 is exploring their own championship. And that they will have to have that in place if they want access to this new entity. And I think that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Let's see. Delaric, some larger channels have moderators that handle chat stuff like that. Yeah. And it's tough. It is difficult. And we run into a lot of individual chat guys that, you know, YouTube generally handles that pretty well for us. Our business model is to never block anybody, frankly. I mean, if you comment on this channel, you're subscribed to it because you can't comment without subscribing. And it is bad business for us to block anybody.
Yeah.
So we admittedly turn our YouTube spam filter up as high as it can go. And that's why you get a lot of people that is, when you see people that, you know, like the Oregon State fans who came in and just commented emojis. Well, you got filtered, you know, and we always warn people about that. I have zero interest watching Middle Tennessee State play Liberty. I agree. Joey B, sunglasses on Monty's shirt. Always with the uniform, this guy. Cocktail on Jake's shirt. Do I have sunglasses on my shirt? Yeah, I guess I do. Man, mine are all golf things. We've come a long way, fellas, from all black. Well done. I'm an all black guy. It is what it is. It is what it is. But, you know,
yeah, I
appreciate that. P4 should only be maybe 40 teams, but you have 67 in now.
Yeah.
The eye patch. I always watch Utah State Aggie games if they're on. Plenty of good games at the G5 level. Yeah, with them.
Yeah, that's Broncos, my point. Like, we don't need to talk about like who shouldn't play and who should play. Like, let them all play like the way they do now, and just change the format of it. That's all.
Yeah, I don't think it's rocket science. I think it's going to be very difficult to get. I think it's going to be very difficult to get the G5 to be competitive against P4 teams in a new entity because the P4 is going to make significantly more money. And the G5 won't have access to that unless they're in that G4 league on a full-time basis. And that's never going to happen. You may get a handful of teams. You're not going to have. Everybody loves to get a
Stay hard.
for relegation and promotion, bro. Not happening. Not happening. Dude that abides, the underdog having their chance in the NCAA basketball tournament is what draws the fans, both casuals and hardcore. But is basketball the same as football? In the idiot human being video of the day, which we need to have more of, let me play this for you. Because this is why you cannot compare college basketball and college football.
Told y'all 37U getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand. Y'all got to work Monday. Man, that quarterback done got that bro done picked the ball up. Now look, I told y'all cannot be calling off of work because of this. He done got, look, they both over there. They done for. They both done for. They boss gonna ask what the hell happened, man. We concussion playing 37U. That's what's going down right here. I done told y'all this shit is diabolical. Look at this block, bro. Look, that was a block from Hill. This whole play was unprofessional as fuck. Look, bro got hit right. I told y'all. I keep telling y'all got to go to work. Bro didn't even get hit that hard. Y'all got to go to motherfucking work, bro. Listen, lead this to the young bucks. The young bulls will be out here balling. Like, I'll rock with it. He done dumped it off the bro. This is another block from him. Boom, from hell. That was crazy. Look at this, bro. Like, you better get a hold.
Dude, that is incredible. That is incredible. You're playing 37 years old and under football? Hell no. But my point is, you can physically compete in basketball. It's why Gonzaga doesn't have to join a power conference, right? Because you can physically compete, especially in a one-and-done game. You can physically compete. In football, you can't physically compete. And you look at teams that does Appy State go to the house and beat Michigan occasionally? Is Appy State winning 3 out of 5 games? 2 out of 5 games? No, they're not. They're winning 1 out of 100 games against a P5. You're not going to get that, right?
No.
And I think you're
No.
looking at something where you cannot, in my opinion, financially compete, which means you will not be able to physically compete because you won't be able to afford the best talent. And what happens the very moment a new entity is formed? All the top talent wants to play in that entity because they're going to be partnered with the NFL, and it is going to be more money and access to games on television. And that is exactly why kids want to play in those leagues. And, I get it. Man, we are just in bot hell right now.
Hell.
It is incredible. It is incredible, the sheer volume. Yeah, go away, bots, right? The eye patch, sign me up. Wait, never mind. Dude, like the guy said, hey, man, y'all got to go to work on Monday.
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing playing 37U football, bro? I'm not
God.
trying to get popped on the football field. I'll take the golf course. Thanks.
Half of the P4 are the same as the top of the G6.
Okay, well, if you want to believe that, that's fine. That's fine.
What does that mean? Help me understand what that means. Because I just don't think that's accurate at all. I think people have this, they want to romanticize. Oh, well, Boise can beat anybody on any given Sunday. Yeah, you're right. But do they? No. Did they go to Oregon and win? Almost. Right? But I get it. We can all fantasize.
How did SMU look against the homies at Petto State? Like, it wasn't close.
And I will just continue to say it's cool to fantasize about that stuff. But man, I'm telling you that you absolutely cannot in any way, shape, or form believe that, what did you say? Half of the G6 can like, no. Half of the P4 are the same as the top G6. They're not.
Come on.
Not. And I mean, just the talent disparity. And again, it's not even the talent is the core issue. Money's the core. And you're a Washington State fan. Look at how financially strapped Washington State is. Look at how divisive the conversations in Pullman about how to spend money and what to spend money on. Look at we broke the news that Washington State had a faculty sit-in their president's office Kirk Schultz because of how he was spending money. Like it's just a tough existence right now. And you throw on top of that this idea that the Department of Education's disappeared, and so is the funding. You are getting significantly less funds to run your institutions. And it just is very difficult. Very difficult. Big Daddy Magic is back.
Oh, boy.
Is this a Victor bomb?
Here we go.
Timothy, what have you done? You have a lot of bots. This would never happen on a Victor podcast.
Timothy.
There you go. I knew I couldn't get away without a Victor bomb. I knew it.
Yeah.
Which is fine. The eye patch. Cinderella is currently getting phased out of college basketball. It's getting tougher and tougher, without a doubt. The Office fan, in my opinion, Texas Tech will be the Texas A&M of the Big 12. We'll see. You got to win more than Texas A&M's won. Joey's got to win a championship in the next, I think, 2 years minimum.
A Big 12 championship.
Yes, this year and next year he has to win the conference championship, and he better be close both years, because if he's not, he's going to go. The Chippewas are so good they had Connor on the sidelines helping them. Dude, I think they will come a time where the talent disparity dictates that you're insinuating, but I don't think that we're there right now. Oh, I think we're there right now. I think you look at how badly Boise got handled in the playoff. I think you look at how badly SMU got handled in the playoff. And I think you're beginning to see that the talent disparity across the board, the gap, the span is just so incredible, because you look really good when you're preparing for one game in Eugene. And that's early in the season. The entire flipping summer, your whole focus is kicking duck ass. But what's the reality of that? Well, then we get on the field and we're really close, but we still don't win. We spent an entire offseason preparing for that game. We still don't win.
And how bad did Oregon look in that game?
And then we go through the entire season. We run into the college football playoff in Penn State, and we get absolutely boat raced. Because you can't push around P4 defensive lines the way you can push around G5 lines.
Facts.
UNLV is not Epstein University. It's not a slight. It's not an insult. It's a reality.
Yeah, it's a fact of life, bro.
Joey Harper, I would take Boise State over UCF or Houston or Purdue. Well, I don't think that's arguable. The problem is, if you put Boise in the Big 12 right now, they're probably better. They're better than Oak State. They're better than UCF. They're probably not better than Houston. They're probably on par with Houston, because I think Houston's going to be a much better team this year. And I think Willie is arcing up the talent level there. But I'm just telling you that I don't think there's any doubt that they are the road and the climb is just so difficult, man. Like, I cannot. And
again, we always go to Boise State. What about the rest of the teams? Like you guys just fixate on Boise State. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on.
What is Fresno State? What is Colorado State?
Yeah.
Like San Diego State football would be the dead last worst team in the Big 12.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't even be a conversation, right? Like, people take it so personally. And I would just tell you, take your emotion out of it and look at the reality of the situation. I'll even give you Boise State, Jake. I think that's a great point. I'll even give you Boise State. State. But you can't tell me that Memphis football is ready to compete for a P4 championship. You can't tell me that UNLV, who's played back-to-back years for a spot in the college football playoff, is ready to compete for a P4 championship. We already saw it illustrated painfully in front of our eyes that Boise is not, with the best running back in college football, arguably. So it's not a personal shot. It's not an insult. I'm just telling you that it is not going to be this pleasure cruise that everybody wants to make it out to be.
Okay, quick sidebar. I agree with all that. Quick sidebar.
Yeah.
We need to talk about this. I appreciate all you guys who report the bots in the chat. I appreciate that behavior. We appreciate the help.
Yeah.
But Oak State James DMing me during the show right now. Just FYI, I've had to report 4 different spammers so far. I've got your back, bro. We're not in the rectory right now, dude. We're fine. We're good. I promise you, we're good, dude. I promise you, we are okay.
I got you, buddy.
Like,
I appreciate that you guys are doing that.
Yeah.
I appreciate you're doing that. I mean, it is going to be anyway. I'm not trying to disparage the G5, and I'm sure G5 teams will win games this week, and people will be like, "See, fat ass, I told you." Okay, have your moment, dude. Have your moment. Midweek Coug. If we're talking about championships, then again, only maybe 30 teams can do that. Oh, it's less than that. Nobody is. It's winning a championship is for the few truly elite programs.
Bro, put the AP preseason poll back on the screen. I mean, how many of these teams actually compete for a title?
How many? But it's not even competing for a title, midweek Coug, that I'm trying to drive the point home. How many teams can compete week in and week out in the SEC? How many teams in the Big Ten, week in and week out, in the Big 12, in the ACC? If you put garden variety, and I again, I'm not talking down to you. I'm just trying to be factual. Take Washington State, your boys. You drop them into the SEC. You guys don't. I'm not certain that you win a game because it's not the top 22 on your roster. Do you understand that P4 teams essentially cut the bottom quarter of their roster every season? They're gone. And where do those guys end up playing? The guys who get cut from P4 rosters. It's okay. You can say it. They play in the G5.
Where did Jake Retzloff go?
Tulane.
Oh, okay.
I just, I'm telling you that you don't, on a regular basis, have the depth. And I don't mean, hey, 75 bodies. I mean 44, 66 bodies. How many G5 teams are 3 deep at every position?
Almost none.
Almost none. How many P4 teams are 3 deep? Probably 65, 70% of the P4 are 3 deep, legit 3 deep starters.
Yeah, I was going to say over half. Yeah.
It's just a massive disparity. And the difference is when you go to, and again, I'll talk about Notre Dame because I know how they train players. You go to Notre Dame, the first thing you do after mass is you eat. And then you weight train. And then you run. And then you eat. And then you go to practice. And then you weight train. And then you eat. And you go to class. And then you wake up and you do it all over again. And in the summer, it's even more than that. You don't have that on a regular basis. You just don't have that in the G5 because you don't have the funds or the facility to have that. And that's what I'm trying to tell people is you just can't, you don't see behind the scenes the money and not even just like how much is in your bank account. Do you know how many more strength and conditioning human beings are in the G5 as opposed to I can't even, you guys, I can't even begin to describe to you.
Right.
How many more are in the P4 than the G5? Like, I can't even tell you. And I wish I could, but it's so hard to even describe it because you just have so much more money and humanity allocated to winning games.
It's just a bigger operation, bro.
That's all it is. It is a much, much bigger operation. And I understand that doesn't resonate with people and you don't want to hear about that. And, like it's an idiot comment like this. Do you really think that the quarterback position is where you should measure whether a guy is able to compete in the P5? No, you should not. And yeah, is it true that Cam Ward and John Mateer? Well, what does that mean? What you should be looking at is how depth and how much quality do you have on your defensive and offensive lines? How much speed do you have at wide receiver? How many tight ends do you have on your roster who can compete? That's what wins and loses you games. And it's numbnuts like Mike who take it so personally that we will not knob slob JD Wicker.
Mm-hmm.
That you come in here and you make stupid comments like John Mateer and Cam Ward went P4. And I can only tell you, for every John Mateer and Cam Ward, there's a dozen more who don't make it.
Totally.
And the overwhelming flow is from P4 to G5. Because where do the best quarterbacks go? The best quarterbacks go to P4 already. Why are quarterbacks able to move up from the G5 to the P4? Because usually they get overlooked. And Cam Ward, I would remind you, I would believe, was in a P4, and then that P4 melted down, which is why he transferred.
Yeah, I was gonna say he didn't come from the.
I mean, it drives me crazy, and it's overwhelmingly Pac-12 fan who just can't figure it the fuck out. Like, you are not being persecuted. You are not being, it's just a fact of the matter, man.
Yeah, you're not a victim, dude. Like, this is not like
Lord.
someone committed a war crime against you.
It's wild to me. Rock and Rant. Dropping in mid-show on this channel is a trip. Bro, between the bots and, it's crazy to me. That I think it's so easy for people to, oh, well, this guy and that guy. It's not the one-offs, you guys. It is not the one-offs. It is the majority. We know the special guys. We know the once-in-a-lifetime. I'm sure there's offense. I know for a fact there's offensive linemen who've played G5 and D line. Okay, cool. The majority of your talent cannot compete at the P4 level.
Yeah.
And Mike, it's why we don't read your comments, because you tend to just be a red ass about it. John Hamm, speaking of red asses, agree with Monty on G5. We agree. It's time for Rocky Raccoon to make an appearance at the Dumpster Town. I don't take requests, and it is insulting to me that you would request a video on this show.
Oh, fucking God.
Does it ever get old?
No.
It just, that iconic. Video never gets old.
Undefeated.
Never gets old. It's fine. I just wish that, before we move on, can we just at some point agree on this show? It's not personal. Like, I'm getting DMs. My phone is blowing up with DMs on TikTok. And I've got, should I out him? I should.
I don't know. What are we talking about?
I've got a Utah State fan who says you hate the G5. You have always hated the G5. Leave us alone. And then if I don't talk about you,
us alone.
You guys understand this. When I worked in Salt Lake City, I had the head coach of Utah State on my show once a week, every week. You never talk about us. You hate Utah State. Okay. It's never good enough for you guys. It is never, ever good enough for you guys. John Hamm video always put a smile on my face. The dumpster video always put a smile on my face. I would agree with that. John Hamm says Monty has Kelly Conway alternate facts. There you go. Yeah, because John Hamm listens to all the wackadoos on YouTube who are like, oh, it's 5'11", it's 11'5", it's 5'61".
It's like 11'6" Monty.
Come on. Who isn't a red ass in this group? Nobody. We're all red asses.
Well, except for James. He's older.
Monty's a cyber bully. I've reported him to the FBI, DOJ, and the Church of Latter-day Saints. Thank you. I'm old, fat, and dying. D-Rock. Hello. As a fan of G5 school, I'm really curious to see what a G5 playoff would look like. I asked that. Nobody seems to have a great grasp on it.
Yeah.
Because one of the problems in the G5 is some schools are really talented and others are just not able to compete, like can't even get through a football practice. So it'd be very difficult. And it's one of those things where everybody's like, oh, every team's in. And it's like, well, not every team wants to be in, right? Like, Joey Harper, Utah State, otherwise known as Bobby Wagner U. Indeed it is. Great school, great football program until they had this whole meltdown over Title IX. A program like Pitt is top 3 in NFL Hall of Famers, top 10 all time, and is All-Americans. And yet winning has been tough sledding for 35 years because winning college football games is very different than being talented.
Making great players is not as difficult as actually winning the game. Winning the game requires a lot of great players to play a lot of great football.
But see, I feel like Pitt's always had good culture. Like, we work hard, we grind, we're blue collar, we're Pittsburgh, but that doesn't win football games. And I think especially now as we get further and further into Gen Z and the proliferation of young social media kids, they want to make highlight tapes of themselves. They want to run fast, throw the ball deep, like make big hits, interceptions. Like being the best offensive lineman is not high on anybody's list, right? That's just, unless you popped out of mom's womb, like just absolutely being a cervix crusher, like there's not a lot of guys like, damn, dude, I'm 5'11" and I run a 4.2 540. I wonder if they'll let me be an offensive lineman, right? Like nobody's saying that.
No,
well, I'm 6'2", 185 pounds. I run like the wind. I wonder if they'll let me be a defensive tackle.
I really want to get in the trenches, Monty. I mean, I could block for the A gap,
Yeah, that ain't happening. You know what I mean? Like, nah. Oak State James, G6 playoff should be the 6 conferences, champs plus 2 at-large bids. Sure. I don't know. John Hamm, Mike Smith is lying, LOL, and it was posted backwards. You didn't post it backwards. You just didn't know the terminology. Watching kids practice and typing, that will happen. No, it won't. No, it won't.
That's not. What do you mean you typed it backwards, dude? You're literally admitting you don't know the terminology. Like, so you made
John?
the choice to just be like, oh, 11 and 5, Monty. Like,
we
what?
talk about this shit all the time. We rarely say sources tell us that and then be completely wrong. How many times have you heard us say, well, our sources are telling us that your mom's hot, and then your mom is just absolutely a donkey?
Oh, he don't know nothing.
That doesn't happen on this show.
Your mom's a donkey.
But you guys will go run to these other channels and they'll be like, oh man, you know what? UNLV is going to play their new stadium's going to be built at Area 51. We're reporting. And you guys are like, oh, did you see UNLV's building a stadium in Area 51?
Infowars.com.
They're not, bro. They're Tom Dean, I'm 5'6" and want to be a linebacker. Rudy. I want to get my jersey for Rudiger. Never. Whoever the asshole is that wrote that movie, I want to punch you in the face because that movie is so fictional. Anyway. Jake hacked into John's computer and typed that out just to trigger Monty. Anyway.
Look at how triggered John is. Look at the justification.
I've typed 5'11" 100 times in this chat over time. Let's stop that. I don't know. Come on,
That's
John.
what fucking ticks me the fuck off.
Okay, John, we get it, dude.
Johnny, it's all John. It's not personal, dude. Like I
It is what it is.
I somewhat don't hate you.
Okay,
you know.
so let me give you
I'm
options then, dude. So you're saying you know all the terminology. So what did you do? Just fat finger it on your droid, or what happened, dude? What happened, dude?
Big Daddy Magic. I met the guy that played Rudy in that movie, and he said it was a bunch of bullshit. Because it was.
Because it is. It's a movie.
Doesn't take much to trigger Monty.
Y'all reading all this cap ass shit.
I am a little passionate. The Big Lubbock. I love the haters. All you jealous peeps, keep on hating. It helps our program. Yes, it does. John Dry, Texas Tech might have a midget. I've heard that. I've heard that.
See, why are you calling for drops, dude? That's
a Wolf of Wall Street.
That's a clear Wolf of Wall Street reference.
Yeah, and we don't appreciate that. If you could stop doing that, like, don't put in the comments section the drops you want to hear. Jake is not your. You shouldn't put in the comment section the drops you want to hear. You shouldn't do that. Don't do that. You shouldn't do that. Speaking of Oak State James, Jake, Oak State James reached out to me. Wow. Okay. Oak State James reached out to me. He'd like to know if you can go make him a video about the new IPF at
Hi,
Oregon.
this is James. Welcome back.
No,
James,
dude.
James now knows that his boyfriend lives in Eugene, and
Stay hard.
he wants that video of the new Oregon IPF, and you're going to give it to him.
Yay!
No, I'm not doing that, dude. I'm not.
Yeah. Do you think it's annoying for you?
Well, tell you what, dude. Why don't you send Trump's army after him and deport his ass, and then we'll be good, dude. How about that?
Yeah.
How about that?
So Oak State James sends me a message. He's like, "Hey, Monty, do you think we can get Jake to go over to campus and shoot me a video of that IPF they're making over there?"
I mean, it's really beautiful, Monty.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
From what I understand, it's shaped like Phil Knight's cock. And
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
I mean, I've heard that. I'd like to see Jake take a video so I can verify it.
Is it possible that they could ride the D?
Jake is going undercover as Agent Eugene to do campus stadium recon. Hi, I'm Agent Eugene. You see this Honda Civic over here? Is that your Honda Civic, sir? Yeah, I thought I could park behind the rectory. Angelo Joseph. Okay. Top 2 ranked G5 conference championship, play for a consolation championship. Okay.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Okay. Angelo Joseph.
Nice name, dude.
You better be Italian and Catholic.
Hey, look, he plays men's hockey league, it looks like.
Midweek Coug. Eugene has really nice sports buildings. The rest of Eugene is hot ass. You're not wrong. I told Jake this before he made the terrible decision to move to Eugene, that there's not much there besides militias and trees.
Hot ass.
And then there's just this enclave where they play football and run track and stuff.
Yeah.
And have the worst basketball court in all of college basketball.
Yeah, trees and stuff.
You know. Hey, I mean, I'm just saying. Does Jake have insider info about Oregon's baseball team this year? Not saying there's relation to coach or anything.
Well, listen, Monty, I have my best friend is a sideline reporter. For the baseball team.
Well, hey, Monty,
you know.
I have a friend that rubs up the balls of the Oregon baseball team.
Miles and glory holes.
And he was telling me, as an inside source, he was telling me that Phil Knight's cock is going to be at the game on Saturday. Can you go get some video of that? Yeah. That'd be. I mean, you said we have a deal. Just be careful. That's a felony in some states. The eye patch. They should play on a giant Donald Duck. Listen, Jake, from what I understand, Disney and Oregon are in bed together. So Goofy and Donald, let me tell you, you think those dongs they're throwing on the court in the W or something? Wait until you see Oregon football this year. Oh, you think the uniforms are colorful? Wait until you see the dongs on the field in Eugene.
Macaque.
Big Lubbock. Red Raider Club kickoff luncheon was today. In my opinion, Texas Tech will be 11-1. Listen, man, I went to the luncheon. The waitress at the luncheon who polishes the flatware at Joey McGuire's mansion was telling me that Joey was telling her while he was banging her that they're going to go 11-1. The cock. They better go 11-1. Let me get this right. You went to the Booster Club kickoff luncheon and people are feeling good about Texas Tech football?
I don't regret those decisions.
At the Booster luncheon, you can't be serious.
I mean, was it the free food that made them feel so good about the program?
We had this unbelievable Salisbury steak at the Booster kickoff luncheon.
And Monty, listen, the roll I can't believe it's not butter on the rolls. We're just incredible.
And we're not woke, so we didn't do those Queens Hawaiian rolls.
Brother.
No, we went focaccia bread with that Salisbury steak. And let me tell you something. I feel really good about the football team.
Focaccia bread.
Big Lubbock, if you guys don't win 10 games, I think Joey is going to be in a world of hurt. And I mean, dude, Sooner in Seattle. I do feel like Tech could be the best team in the Big 12. On paper, they are. I am. You got to be kidding me. Did you guys hear about this thing at Villanova today? About an hour ago, a report came out that there was an active shooter and everybody had to shelter in place. And now the powers that be at Villanova are saying that it was a joke. It was false. Somebody called in a cruel hoax. Are you out of your mind? Calling in an active shooter. Dude, I hate people. I absolutely hate people. Like, why are we doing that? That is so frustrating. Was that a shot at Sweet Rolls? Listen, guys. My friend Kevin, he's on the booster committee at Texas Tech, and let me tell you, he's got some sweet rolls. And I'm happy to butter those rolls if I get tickets. You know.
We really did.
I don't know what you mean. I think Joey McGuire is under an enormous amount of pressure. I don't even, can you imagine if they're a 7-win team? Those trophies for paper championships are amazing. You ought to know. The stadium guy, Tom, I'm serious. The IPF at Oregon. I mean, the very fact that the IPF at Oregon is shaped. Do you guys remember Donna Duck? Well, she has nothing to do with this conversation. I just don't want to keep talking about Phil Knight's cock because then Monty's going to go crazy.
The cock.
Mike Smith, someone joking or were they swatting? Swatting is happening way too much now. It's not. Fun.
Yeah.
It's not. OTC Mapes. Casual, stop dipping your Milky Way in blue cheese. Well, you know, let me tell you something, Monty. Blue cheese, here in the rectory, I hopped in the Civic today. And I have a donut tire on right now, so I'm not, you know, I can't corner like I'm on rails.
All gas, no brake.
But pretty close. And I stopped by Buc-ee's and got a brisket sandwich, and then I dipped it in some honey mustard. That was the best sandwich I've ever had, bro.
Juicy.
Maybe Oak State. Oh, is that Oak State? Is OSJ Oak State?
OSJ?
Oh no, on somebody's jock. Okay. Maybe on somebody's jock can start doing reports on the food at kickoff luncheons.
You ought to know you bought it.
King of Thailand. Jake, be a digital nomad in Thailand. Dude, I'm so jealous you're moving to Thailand, dude. I'm serious. Big, hairy dudes and long trails are all that's in Eugene. Let me tell you, the first I got to Eugene in the summer of 67.
Length and girth.
And I was listening to some Creedence, and this fucking hairy guy just walked up to me, and he's like, dude, you got a comb for these nuts? And I was like, bro, I'm not lending you my comb for those nuts.
The biggest load that we've seen.
Let me tell you, that didn't end well. I'm going to talk about some redwoods. That is made up right off the top of my head, and it is brilliance. They recognize it. Cody Campbell ain't spending that cash to just make it to a bowl game. Lubbock County, boy.
Yeah, boy.
OSJ greater than BDM. Well, let me tell you,
now that's an argument.
Big Daddy Magic, all he does, he doesn't know nothing about everything. And he comes in and he talks about some asshole named Victor.
Victor's the way.
And now, Oak State James comes out of the rectory and hops in his Civic, and all he wants to talk about is stadiums in Poughkeepsie, and I don't get either one of them.
To South Person, Tennessee.
God damn it, we need football games. Okay. Mike Smith, Jake spends his weekends on searching for DB Cooper getaways. Well, let me tell you. Guys. Let me tell you about DB Cooper here for a minute. So back in the summer of 64, I was on this propeller flight from Vancouver down to Portland because I was going to buy some some ganj. I was looking for some hippie lettuce. And this dude jumped out of the back of the plane. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? Took the only parachute, too. Good thing we landed safe.
Sign stealer guy.
I can't believe what I just read. ESPN FPI gave UCLA a 52.5% chance to win, but given 41.7 chance to it.
Hey, Phil, we talked about that earlier this week. You tune in.
You should try listening to the show, Phil. I know it's hot and stuff and whatnot, but it's fine. Ollie Gordon versus Victor. Now, listen, who hasn't done that 1,000 times?
Victor's the way.
Yeah, and just for the record, here is the
FTR,
OSJ, ATM.
Right.
Again, I just like to state for the record, hell is not real, thankfully.
ATM.
Because if it was, all these NFL bots would be in hell. And it is what it is. And God, dog, like it is amazing how much spam
so much
we are getting. And hey, it's great. All right, let's switch gears a little bit because a couple of things I want to get to. Can we talk about what is Jerry Jones doing? And if you know, I hope that you will enlighten me. He needs to stop talking about Micah Parsons, and you really should stop doing it on the network where the average viewer is 69 years old.
How close are you to getting a deal with him?
Mike is a great player, not a good player, but a great player. He knows more than anyone that it's a team thing. And so I know everybody's tired of hearing this, but you've got to put this puzzle together so that you can have some other people out there playing with Michael. That's the art of the deal, and that's why we're trying to get done. And we're trying to make this thing work. But we have all the appreciation in the world for what he can mean to the years ahead. We're proud to have him.
Did he just say that's the art of the deal? F you. F you. You suck.
Fuck you. You suck.
Did he just say the art of the deal? How is that worked out? Like, why are you talking, old man? You're wearing a skin suit. Pay the guy. Well, we gotta have guys on the field who can run around with Micah.
And this is going to be a team-friendly deal, Monty. And Micah's just got to understand that, even though he's the best damn defensive player in the league. I mean, TJ Watt's probably got something to say about that, but, Micah's pretty good.
I will never understand. Jerry Jones is not he's not a smart man, right? I am amazed. I am amazed that this guy keeps talking. And I agree. Jackass Jerry word salads. Like,
but
what are we doing?
It's exactly what he wants. Like, it's what he wants.
You overpaid. Make no mistake about this. You overpaid CeeDee Lamb. You overpaid Dak Prescott. Now you can't afford Micah Parsons. It's not difficult. You waited too long on those two deals and this deal. It costs you more money.
You probably, from waiting, you probably paid Dak $20 million more than you needed to, at least. And I don't know. I don't, because he's not trying to win Super Bowls, man. What he's trying to do is be the center of attention. And I know this is controversial, but I think that's truly all he cares about. And I know everyone wants to say, oh, well, it's Stephen Jones who's running the money and yada, yada, yada. Dude, that's Jerry Jones' team till he dies, bro. And I don't know, when he, like it was asked of him, like why he doesn't want to hire a GM. And he word saladed the hell out of that answer. And then, he gets asked about, in all these press conferences over the course of camp, getting asked about, well, when do you think it'll get done? Or what do you think of Dak? What do you think of this? Like, I just think that the guy can't stand to be anything other than the face of the franchise. And he does not really care about winning a Super Bowl. He only cares about Like, follow the media cycle. What does everyone think about this? I'm going to do the thing that gets people talking about the Cowboys the most. Like, honestly, like that's what his behavior says that he cares about. And I just feel like it's hard to look at it any other way because, to your point, like the decisions you made on Dak and Lamb made absolutely no sense, man.
Yeah.
And Micah might be the only the closest thing you have on that roster to a no doubt about it. Pay that man, should never play for another team kind of guy. Like, and yet here we are.
Yep. Perling, can you please give Texas credit for beating Texas Tech in the softball championship? They did 2-1. Did I say it backwards? The $1 million pitcher at Texas Tech didn't. Now I'm going to have to look it up. I thought Longhorns won. Am I wrong about that, Jake? I thought you're the 2025.
I don't want to say one way or the other because I don't remember. I want to say Texas did end up.
Texas won. I'm almost positive Texas won.
I think. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Texas Tech won the first or lost the first game 4-0. Second game was 4-3. Tech won. Canada won that game. She's 34-6.
Yeah.
They won. They at 10-4, and Canada lost the championship game to finish. Jesus Christ, 34-7. She was 34-7. Come on. Hey, Calford with 20. There's tens of thousands of hundreds of people watching the show. Get your memberships. Let's go. Always good to see you, my friend. Thank you to everybody watching the show. I go over to X. See, this is why I don't get. You guys know I almost deleted Twitter last week. I almost got so fed up with it that I was like, you know what, dude, F this. Now I didn't get that close. Look at what Oak State James is tweeting at me right now.
Bro, are you serious right now?
Help
I'm
me.
being serious. Like,
Help.
Are you serious, James?
Help me.
You can't
Help you.
Be serious with this. Like,
my fucking ass.
Like, what?
Me. Help me.
Brother, have you not seen the title of the show today? Did you not listen? Oh, my bad. My bad. Your ass was in the rectory charting. That's why you didn't hear it. That's probably what happened.
Help me, James.
Like,
help me. I comforted you through the Walmart manager situation.
You've called into the show multiple times.
I let you talk on the show. Help me. Help me. Help me. Look at me. Anyway.
Like, I don't know how you consistently do it. Like, watch the damn show. Watch the first hour of the show. Like, this is not bro, this is not that hard. Damn.
It vexes me.
Oh.
Terribly vexed.
Now it's OKSJ. Now it is truly Oak State, James.
Bro,
I was at the main hospital dealing with the. Oh, fuck.
Get out of here, dude.
Monty,
There
I'm
is
sorry.
no way.
Shut the fuck up,
Monty,
dude.
People are dying out here, Monty. Monty, help me. People are dying.
Dude.
Maybe if you'd watch the show, those people would. No, I probably shouldn't say that.
Like, where are we at in society today?
Do you even look at the title of the show before you come in here?
I'm going to do that.
Like,
Monty, I was at Buc-ee's and this dude dropped dead of a heart attack from that goddamn brisket. What did you want me to do, Monty?
Brother.
I threw him in the hatchback. I got a hot hatch.
In God's name, image, and likeness.
Please do not go serious tone on me. Listen, guys, I'm a hospital chaplain.
I am a hospital chaplain and someone died on my watch.
I have a direct line to Jesus Christ himself.
Stay home.
Notre Dame, our mother.
These people going to heaven.
No, I'm not. Hey, let me make a list. Things Monty's never said. I'm going to heaven.
These people going to heaven.
No.
It's probably different than what you're thinking, though.
Who the fuck called you? I am not a boomer. I am not a boomer. Who called me a boomer? James, I apologize. I missed the first hour. You're damn right you apologize. I got news for you. When the show's over, he'll still be dead.
Apologize to that man.
I'm totally...
If you guys ever want to kick it, we'll flow.
Listen, James. He's going to be dead when the show's over. It's only 3 hours.
What would I do without you?
Hello?
Well, Monty, I could not catch the first hour of the show because I was presiding over a situation at said hospital, which, by the way, their ops building at the hospital is quite amazing. When I pulled up in the shitbox Civic, man, I walked through the ops building and it was quite incredible.
Video coming to my channel next week.
Hey, look here, man.
Please like and subscribe.
I am such a bad person. I am a bad person.
Dude.
James missed the first hour of the show. Guys. Hey, guess what?
Show.
Yeah. Do you really like the show, James? Huh? How dedicated are you?
Yeah.
Well, somebody died. He'll still be dead in 3 hours.
You got to fuck one, marry one, kill one. Go.
Bro.
Wow. John Ham. Oh, God. John Ham for $2. Okay, get serious. Everybody get serious. James was busy tapping a seat.
Bro. Dude. Buddy said tapping a 7-Eleven.
I gotta tell you, that guy dropped dead over at Buc-ee's. There's a 7-Eleven across the street, and let me tell you about the piece of ass you can get at 7-Eleven on the
Monty,
roller.
I rolled into the 7-Eleven on my way to preside over someone's death, and I got a little busy after I got the meat off the roller.
Let me tell you something. Walmart ain't got nothing on 7.
Dilly.
Mentally, Monty is a boomer.
Bro.
How? Big Blue Horses. Help me help you. Help me help. I just do things.
Yeah.
James, everybody's like, James, how do you do it every day? I just do things.
I'm a dog chasing meat.
I'm a dog chasing the Monty Show.
Schemers trying to control their little worlds.
I wouldn't know what to do if I made a logical comment. James, you are not a bad person. Actually, Monty is quite funny. I love you. Oak State James giving Slurpees a new meaning. Wow. Oh my God. How did we get here? All right, let's since we're off the rails a little bit, let's get you some life advice. I mean, who doesn't need some life advice from Nikola Jokic? How about Michael Porter Jr.?
Just all kind of texted in the group chat, and the only thing Nicola said was wrap it up out there, and that's all he said. He said make sure you wear condom out there. That's all he said. That was his message. That was his goodbye to me. Those are my guys. Those have been my family, but it's the nature of the sport, and we're gonna stay in touch.
Hey, Jake, Oak State James here. Now that you're in Eugene, some advice from me to you, bro. As somebody who flirted with that Walmart thing, you better strap on a Jimmy. Hey, out there in Eugene, you put on a condom, bro. I mean, this is the advice you're here for. Here we go, life advice. It's Nikola Jokic telling Michael Porter Jr. to wear condoms in Brooklyn. You don't have to do that over here in Denver. In Brooklyn, dude, Jimmy all the way. Okay. Maury Alvarez, I wish some people would have wrapped it up. Oak State. Maury, what you see, you say stuff like this, and you guys are like, well, this show goes off the rails every day. How am I supposed to keep it on the rails when Maury's talking about contraception?
Go play intramurals, brother.
Lots of slap and tickle happening.
Bro, dude. Slap and tickle?
Can you do something for me?
Wow. Eric Wasikowski, they'll still be dead in 3 hours, James. Take your time. Man, he drives a Honda Civic. Now, don't worry about it. They'll still be dead in 3 hours when you get here. You know. Yeah, no kidding. Thailand is a rap or shot A or B. Exactly.
Dude,
right.
Bro, for real.
Jimmy. James was posting on X with one hand and checking for a pulse with the other. Wow. I heard it said every week on Friday when I was in the Army, if you're going to play in the rain, wear a raincoat. Okay.
Are you threatening us?
Are you saying that you were a prolific rain dancer in the Army?
Length and girth.
No, Monty, I wasn't a rain dancer. I was a rain maker, boy.
The biggest load that we've seen.
See what I did there? Are you taking health class from Nikola Jokic, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, I think his advice is well said. I mean, we know it was just last week we were talking about, Michael Porter Jr., talking about his strategies for, rating women and testing women and all this stuff about him getting outed for DMing women. Like this is a player.
Outed.
This is somebody who's constantly talking to people. So yeah, probably should, dude. Probably should.
Well, all I can say is, boys, when you're out there in New York City, make sure you put a rain hat on, okay? Because it sounds like it's the wild, wild west out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, in the reality of it, there's way more people in New York City than there are in Denver. And the type of cut he's going after, you got to be careful, bro.
Sounds like some good advice, right? Stop DMing me. Stop DMing me. I don't care. Gosh dang it. King of Thailand, blue light special always requires a wrap. Yes, it does. How many athletes have multiple kids with multiple women? You get millions of dollars for playing sports, and half of it is spent on child support. True. Nobody's going to argue with that. Blue turf. Thanks, Jake. You're welcome. You didn't say thanks, Monty, but
Yeah.
All right, let's get your prize picks. Prize picks, the official daily fantasy partner of the Monty program. Have you guys gotten your Avery Johnson prize pick half yard easy win? Boys, easy win. And I got to tell you, last night, yeah, we don't want to talk about last night. I had a 4-pack. Cam Schlitter. Ho-ho! Remember, Jake was telling me he wouldn't take Cam Schlitter. I had him 4.5 strikeouts. He got 8, and he had a perfect game through 7. Jacob Mizorowski. Remember Jake saying Jacob Mizorowski can't miss? You got to take him. Yeah, he missed. Shohei Ohtani, I needed 6. He gave me 3 strikeouts. So I got Cam Schlitter. And I bet he did. And then Avery Johnson for half a yard passing. That prop is available right now. You can make that pick right now in Prize Picks. All you have to do, download the Prize Picks app, use the promo code Monty to open up a new Prize Picks account. You deposit $5. They'll give you 50 more in free plays at Prize Picks. It's so easy, you guys. And if you look at Avery Johnson and Dak Prescott, for all you hapless Dallas Cowboy fans or NFL fans looking for some bread, you want to win week 1 in the NFL? Dak Prescott's a half a yard passing. Look at that. That's your guy, Dak, right there. Half a yard. Avery Johnson, Saturday, 10 a.m., half a yard passing. You're a winner. You are a winner, friends. Download the app. Hook it up. There's some good ones. There is some good ones in the NFL. Tyreek Hill for half a touchdown. Will he score a rushing or receiving touchdown? Easy win, in my opinion. Easy win. There is some really good stuff going on at Prize Picks right now. It's never been easier to win unless you're Monty and then you lose. Tonight's a tough one. So I already, because I am a long-suffering Chicago Cub fan, and When you take the Cubs on Prize Picks,
I need a dick and me.
You're asking for trouble. But when you have Shedeur for 3.5 strikeouts and he gives you 5, how bad can it really be?
Mm-hmm.
How bad can it really be? It can't be that bad now, can it? No, it can't.
No,
it can't. And thankfully, I did not take any other Cubs. But you're feeling like you're in pretty good because it's Boston and the New York Yankees. After one, Lucas Giolito's got 1 strikeout. He's 4 strikeouts. Do I more or less would you take against the Yankees, Jake?
Probably more. He strikes guys out.
I think he does. I
also like the MLB live take on Giolito, 15.5 pitches thrown in the second inning. That could be an easy little win there.
Yeah, I only took more on Giolito because he tends to strike out big offenses more. He struck out 4 Astros, 5 Marlins, 5 Twins, 7 Phillies, 6 Chicago Cubs, 6 Rockies, 7 Nationals, 10 Seattle Mariners. So I took more, which I felt really good about. And then, of course, because some of us are just better at this game than others, right? Of course, I went to the Mets because the Mets were getting an easy win today, right? The Mets, it was Mets Nationals in D.C. Mackenzie Gore, we were going to be fine because Sean Manaea was pitching for the Mets. We were going to get the win. No, they lost 9-3, but thankfully I took Frankie Lindor.
Oh!
Let's go. Daddy's a winner 2-3. He had a 2.5 hits, runs, and RBI number, 3 hits, a run, an RBI, and a bomb. Boom. Life is good. Life is good on Prize Picks. Download the app. Make sure that you, my friends, use the promo code Monty to open up a new Prize Picks account. You deposit $5, they'll give you 50 more in free plays. $55, you'll play the entire college football season. And again, don't forget Avery Johnson. Avery Johnson is your half-yard pick. All he has to do is throw for 1 total yard in week 1, and you're winning. You're winning. I love it. And it is everything that you need. Joey Harper, heck, right now, every pitcher is getting career strikeouts over Seattle. They really are.
What now? Let me tell you what now.
I would never date anyone who works at 7-Eleven.
Okay, you can't factually say that, though, with your track record, bro.
So let me get this straight. And again, I'm not judging anybody.
Definitely judging.
You were married to a Walmart manager. If I just say, hey, he was married to a Walmart manager, what are the percentages that works out in your favor? And it did not. And I think the percentages were against you there.
It's not the best situation, and we all know that.
Now, if you were to say I'd never date a Target manager, okay, that's a pretty big step up for you from a Walmart manager. But are we really going to say that 7-Eleven is some kind of huge step down from Walmart?
That's out of the window.
It wasn't a fair. She cheated on you. I'm going to say.
But you're a huge Slurpee guy, dude. So what do you mean?
Lady who stocks the rollers with taquitos, I'm going to say she's a step up from the Walmart manager. I'm not sure a 7-Eleven manager would date you. See, like,
y'all feel me?
And then there's Buc-ee's versus Maverick. Like, I don't even know that they'd let you walk into a Maverick at this point.
No.
Right? Because you're on the Walmart cheated on my husband list. And I think that anyway.
There is no question.
Dak pass caught might complete a pass this season, but still too early to put money on it. Okay.
Yeah, I think you got to put money on how many passes hit Dallas Cowboy wide receivers in the hands over actual catches.
Walmart managers make over $100K, so you were in it for the money. That's what she was your sugar mama.
They
texted. She wasn't, right? Like, well, how do you know what 7-Eleven managers make? I mean, do you know how much time and effort it takes to train somebody to put taquitos on a roller? You got to get the right mix of taquito to fecal matter.
That's fucking interesting, man.
it, I think you're making some assumptions here. You're making some assumptions.
No question about it.
Lady in a blue smock, lady with a blue smock on. Yeah,
Key differences.
Yeah, we're getting into the minutia of it now. And listen, I'm here to stand up for 7-Eleven managers all over the country, mainly because they're not smart enough to stand up for themselves. But that's not really my point here. That was a joke. Settle down. Settle down. Okay. Should you talk politics with Walmart managers?
Ugh.
Did you guys see this? Because I think it's very interesting. I mean, now, I'm not going to say that I've told you this on the show, because I have. Eric Wasikowski, please stand up. Young men shifting to political right is causing women to distrust dating apps. Atlantic writer Faith Hill argues that the Trump administration's stance on issues like abortion and women's rights are fueling women's distrust of men. Should you talk politics on a first date? I have an unequivocal. It's not even a question for me. I know the answer to this question. It's not even arguable. I know the answer to the question. Jake, should you talk politics on a first date?
I don't want to get into a deep political conversation on the first date, but I'm definitely going to ask, like, hey, what are your thoughts? I'm going to ask a question, and I did this. I can personally test this. I absolutely did this, where I wasn't looking to have some like in-depth debate about abortion, but I asked like, hey, where are you at on this, or where are you at on that, or like, like I would kind of put some feelers out there just to kind of see like what we would do. But I think it absolutely matters. I mean, if you're, like I maintain that we should be able to, like, theoretically, your political stances should not make or break a relationship. But I think in today's climate,
out of your mind. I think, okay, enough of whatever Jake just said, because I turned it off at I'm a millennial. But can I just tell you, if you are a conservative, you cannot date no, I'm not dating no libtards, Monty. And if you are a libtard, Monty, if you are a liberal, you cannot date a Trump supporter. You absolutely have to talk about their political leanings. I'm not telling, okay, listen, we got to talk about this mail-in ballot thing. Where are you on this? Well, can we sit down at the table first? No, I need to know before we ever walk into the restaurant. Right? I think you need to know before you go out on the first date, especially if you're on an app. Before you go out on the first date, you damn well better know. If you're a woman and you are a liberal, you cannot date a conservative male. You just cannot do it. There is no chance. And I think you need to know that.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot even get to a first date without knowing. Can you imagine a MAGA Trump supporter dating a Gavin Newsom voting, I don't shave my armpits type woman? You need to know that.
Yeah, but I also think that those are the extremes, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
in today's world, you think that's extreme?
I mean, I think it's extreme in today's world and 10 years ago. I think that's the far extreme. That's what we hear about all the time. But that, in my opinion, is the extreme of people. Like the, that example. I think there are plenty of people who are in, that are like, hey, I am not a Trump supporter, but my political leanings are more traditional Republican, or whatever. Like, I think that that happens. I can tell you that happens without a doubt. I think that this headline, though, is a problem because I think that it's cool kids club to wear your bright ass red hat and say that one guy's saving our country and everything's, he's never wrong about anything. I think that that's just
sure.
Like
I don't disagree with that.
That's just like,
but that's on both sides,
and it is on both sides. But I think the reality is that you see that type of behavior with MAGA supporters more because that's the culture of it, right? Not to say that it doesn't happen on, the Democratic side, but I just think the Democrats don't have they don't really have like "Make America Great Again" hats and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I just think it's
because there's too many tariffs on Chinese goods now, so it's tough.
Right.
Well, I'm getting throttled on this. You shouldn't talk politics on the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth date. That's ridiculous. If she has a bull ring on her nose, run as far away as possible. James's wife, poor lady, doesn't even know how much a part of this show she is at this point. That's very true. What's your sign? MAGA. Okay, SJ. Okay. Talking politics on a first date is like showing up at a girl's house wearing a Duke while her family is wearing UNC stuff. Could absolutely be. I don't even think it's a matter of getting to the first date. Again, I think you've got to know that. I think we need to learn to communicate and learn who each other is. And I think, like, I'm not marrying somebody until we figure out if our bodies mesh as one well. If you know what I mean.
Right.
Like, I'm not marrying somebody without knowing what that wedding night's going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
Just the same, I want to know who I'm marrying morally and ethically, even beyond politics. I want to know that we align on a philosophical level, because I'm a big believer that you have to be able to have real discussions in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So I could not imagine. Now, again, I've been married for 97 years, but I can't imagine dating somebody who is wholly aligned on the opposite side of my politics.
Yeah.
I like that'd be like marrying a White Sox fan. Hell no.
Well, those don't exist, so you're good there.
True. Very true. Greg Hawkins couldn't disagree more. Damn, I am getting roasted. Jeremiah Champion. Had a friend over 10 years end our friendship because I voted for Trump.
Which, again, I have to say, Jeremiah, I think that's a different conversation than dating. Like, I think we've seen a lot of that where people, I'm telling you, see, this is my point. This is what I was going to say, is that I agree you have to have this discourse through the dating world, but politics is one of those categories that you would talk about with someone as you're dating them that's got a lot of heat behind it. And I think, I think we would also be messing this conversation up if we didn't mention the fact that it depends what city you're dating in, right? I mean, obviously, if you're dating someone in Seattle, that's going to be a hell of a lot different than Miami, right? Or New York and Chicago or Kansas City or whatever, right? Like, so I really do think that this conversation is largely predicated on the community that you live in and your odds of finding someone that agrees or disagrees with your political leanings. Because I could tell you right now, we're like, and this is kind of your point. Like, I'm telling you that people will swipe right or left just depending on how you look. Like, if you look like you're if you look, I hesitate to say if you look Republican or Democrat, people are going to swipe left or right just depending on how you look. Right. And it's not just if they're attracted to you, but I think, I think it's the type of message and energy you're putting out through the pictures and everything like that. And I would also point out, when you're swiping through these apps, they do give you a way to filter down the search. So it absolutely is a thing where you can try to filter your search to get to a result to match with someone, if you will, that probably leans the same way you do politically and with whatever issue you're looking at. So I think this question of, hey, like, do you bring it up on the first date? I think a lot of people are trying to avoid it altogether and not even have the conversation by filtering that down and only seeing people that align with them, which I think, another day, another show, whatever, I think that's a problem unto itself.
Yeah. Greg Hawkins, we are hyper politicized as a society, including dating in that nonsense is ridiculous. It is. And but I think we've gotten to a point now, Greg, where we just can't have conversations.
Mm-hmm.
It is really tough. And I talk about my asshole brother all the time. For years, I've talked about him on this show. We can't talk politics. My brother is 180 degrees opposite of what my beliefs are.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't do it. Can't do it. Jeremiah Champion, I had an ex that stopped dating me because I voted for Trump. Really? Okay. Patrick Roybal. Well, even the most Dems are realizing that Newsom is a major problem. Well, I don't know about all that.
Different show.
Opposite attract, and it don't get more opposite than political parties. Truth.
Yeah, but I think the emotions in politics kind of X that out. I don't disagree the whole yin and yang thing and opposites attract and all that good stuff. But I just think that again, like I see the videos that go around of like when Obama and Romney debated, or like when John McCain was running, like the respect and the way they went about the process is just totally different than it is now. And I think it's much like football teams, right? Like football teams take on the personality of their head coaches, and I think that's what we do as Americans. Like the political climate gets super divisive and everything, and that's what people follow. So I that's why I say I just think this political thing is one of the few areas where people are like it's philosophical. Do you want to have the conversation while you're swiping? Oh, you don't? You're going to filter down the search. Oh, you're willing to have the conversation? Then you're just going to swipe on as many people as possible probably and see what comes back. Like that's how it works.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. And I think, dude, it's tough. It is tough. And you guys make good points. You do. Lopes Van Gabe, if it's going to be a deal breaker at some point, why not get it on the table and out of the way from Jump Street? Not trying to waste my time or hers. I think that's how I look at it. I want to know right out of the gate. Stadium Guy James, my wife is beautiful, smart, funny, and loves sports. She is amazing. I would agree. Chad Perling, hello. 2 overseas gambling sites have reported that betting on Little League World Series surpassed any tennis event, soccer match, and/or the dub. Wow. Okay. Roche, I'm going to find out where she is politically in a first date. I want to know, but it's not a deal breaker. Well, and I think that's the question. Maybe the more enlightened way to say it is, can me and this person have a conversation about politics? Maybe that's the more enlightened human way to say it.
Yeah, and inside of that, I'm reading everything. Like when I'm having a conversation with someone, like, are you educated on what you're talking about, or are you just regurgitating? Truth. Like I'm reading that, I'm digesting that, I'm evaluating that, and seeing like what that's about. Because I can tell you right now, one of the things I hate in life is having a conversation with someone that's not educated on their takes, and are still trying to argue that you're wrong and they're right, even though they have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
100%. But I also think I don't want that kind of divisiveness in a family, especially if we're going to have kids.
Yeah.
We spend so much time under pressure in this country. Man, Greg and everybody else, you guys are making me think about it. I think it's discounted how much anti-Obama Trump was purposely encouraged, supported, and voted to be. Well, could be for certain. Shouty. Half of my family is Republican and half of them are Democrats. We don't share the same values, but we respect each other's values. And I wish
family's different, man. Family's different.
Family. And donuts. If you have bank and are kept, you'll be a target. I know firsthand. Okay.
Facts.
Okay. Not really a political make or break, but no vegans. Honey, you ain't going to eat. No, nope. Because that beef is free range, grass-fed vegetarian. Okay. Okay. Jeremiah Champion, you're not wrong, Jake. Wasikowski, plus my first relationship understood my dark humor, so that was the difference. Okay. Okay. You know, I like it. Joey Harper. It's hard to talk about politics anymore because all common sense has gone the way of the dodo. Yes, it has. No doubt. Is there going to be a show tomorrow? Yes, it's football season. It's football season. It's okay to disagree politically as long as you have similar values. And maybe that's the point.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Champion, it's definitely okay to disagree politically, but you have some people that make it a point at being an asshole if you don't agree with them.
Yeah.
I think it'd be very, especially if you're on the far ends. If you're like MAGA all day, Gavin Newsom's amazing. Like you guys can't get married. You can't date. That the amount of vitriol in that sex is going to be amazing. But then what do you have after sex?
Fights.
Ding. Exactly right. Make sure you hit the like button here on the Monty Show, as always, presented by the Advocates at theadvocates.com. Yes, we will have a show for you tomorrow. Full K-State, Iowa State preview tomorrow. Huge weekend for Avery Johnson. Get him on Prize Picks. Use the promo code Monty's half a yard passing on Prize Picks. If you get in an accident, make sure you get to the Advocates, where you never reach into your pocket to pay the Advocates. You don't pay them unless and until they win your case at theadvocates.com. Until tomorrow, hit the fade to black button, Jake.
Goodbye.